Greetings, everybody. How are you guys doing? So, I have an exciting reading that I've been holding off for this month. I wanted to actually do this message in regards to um, an honoring of the Sibyls. So, some of you guys may have heard of the Sibyls, the Black Dove Prophetesses. Um, Before there was ever a prophet, there was a prophetess. Um, but yeah, so I wanted to do a reading honoring them, especially for Black History Month. I feel like this one was one of the readings I had to do. It's on my list, so I have to do it. Um, Let me see. When is next Saturday? So next Saturday is actually the first. So I'm gonna try to squeeze in next week my Harriet Tubman one. I feel guided to do that too. It's like on my heart, and I got to do it. If I don't do it, I'm gonna be mad at myself. So yeah, I want to honor this message to the prophetesses of Mami Wata, the Black Dove Prophetesses. I came across this book. I had a I had an experience maybe a couple years ago that led me to a woman that was talking about this very book, and the woman that wrote the book, and I was listening to her interviews and stuff like that, and they mentioned the book. I was like, I gotta find this book. I gotta have this book. I gotta find it. I need it. I had the book for a little bit, and my aunt came over, like maybe I think it was like last year or something like that. She came over, and I was telling her about this book, and she was like, like I need to read that, blah 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 blah. So I let her borrow my book, the original one. This one I had to buy another copy, even though it looked raggedy. I had to buy another copy of this book because I'm like, I'm gonna just let her have that as a gift because I felt led to just let her keep it. So she kept the book for me, and as a gift. So I just bought myself another one. One of my good friends, like we were talking, this is probably like, what was this, last year probably? I don't know. Kenya, I don't know if you remember. But she had bought the book and she brought it up. She's like, have you ever heard of this book? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yes, I have that book. And she was like, it's very powerful, blah, 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 blah. And I've been diving back into it every now and then. I'll go back and read it and but yeah, I want to get into who the Sibyls are in case anyone is not familiar. Some of you guys may be familiar with who Mami Wata is, but you may not know who the Black Dove Prophetesses are. So let me check the live and make sure y'all can hear me because yeah, there was this woman. She was like, I can't remember what YouTube channel she was on. She was being interviewed, and I came across her video a while back, a long time ago actually, and she was talking about it, and I was just really intrigued by the story of the Sibyls. I was very intrigued. So it just, later down the line, I just felt guided to read and study. And I have this deck that I was guided to get. I got this maybe a year or two ago, the Sibyl's Oracle, the Black Doves of Africa. And so we're going to be using this deck as well. The biblical tarot has been calling out to me as well all week. I just didn't understand why. I kept looking at it and I was like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to use that for this reading. And I'm also going to use the oracles of Delphi as well, which some of the Sibyls actually were did their prophecies and their works in the oh my God, I can't even talk. Um, in the Delphi temples. So let's get into it. I'm excited. Let me slow down. So, just a little background on who the Sibyls are. The Sibyls, the Black Dove Prophetesses, they were once revered as divine oracles. Their words shaping the fate of nations. So, you had the likes of like kings and generals, things like that, that would go to these prophetesses in regards to, obviously getting a message, right? Their words were very powerful. So their voices carried these prophecies, warnings, and revelations. They were highly sought after by kings, emperors, rulers for their counsel. So their wisdom was recorded, preserved, and held in the highest regard. They had temples dedicated to these prophetesses as well. Their prophecies were often spoke in riddles, poems, and visions, offering warnings, confirmations, and divine insights for rulers, seekers, and those of the path of spiritual awakening. So what's interesting in this book, they do have some of their prophecies, things that were written. One of them I seen, and I haven't gone through the whole entire thing. Like I'm the type of person, and I shouldn't do this, but sometimes when I get a book, I'll flip a page first and see what I need to know at that time, because sometimes when I get books, they're like oracles for me, if that makes sense. Um, in this book, even more so. Like one of my good friends, I slept with this book under my pillow for I don't know how long, for months. And I feel like it activated something. I don't know, but in a good way. But some of their prophecies in here even resonate with today's messages. I wish I could find the one that I'm talking about, and I can't find it. I'm not going to waste too much time. Oh, here it is. Wow. Soon as I opened it up. Soon as I opened it up. So this one right here, this prophecy right here, this Sibyl, she wrote something that stood out to me. And it's kind of a message that I feel like resonates with how people see Black women as a whole. You know, generalizing Black women in this stereotypical angry Black woman, hateful, spiteful, jealous, beneath, dirty, all these violent, these negative words and backings behind what the world tries to depict Black women as, or that stereotypical Black woman. And her prophecy was this. She says, they will say that the Sibyl is mad and deceitful, but when all things shall come to pass, then ye will remember me, and no one will any longer say that I, the prophetess of the great goddess, am mad. Um, anyone can take a message and heed from this reading, but you know, just as a healing message, and I know that white supremacy has people believe like white supremacy energy is such a narcissistic energy and self-centered energy that other people can't even celebrate without them going, well, what about me? Or what about us? You know, those that operate in that white supremacist mindset. It's like if anyone talks about, oh, well, we're talking about Black, you know, Black lives, you know, they also matter, right? Not saying that they're the only lives that matter. And I feel like as a child can even comprehend what that is saying, right? Whereas like the white supremacist mindset, the narcissistic mindset is like, well, what about everybody else? Like, we don't care about what you got going on. And I feel like just not being able to allow other people to exist in their own energies, their own essence, their own culture without saying, oh, well, what about everybody else? And I feel like the only culture that has to, no matter what culture it is, especially American Black culture, um, is the only culture mainly in the world that everyone feels like they're entitled to have to be a part of it. And everyone else can be, you know, exclude everyone else, and we can pick and choose who comes and goes. But with you guys got to accept everyone, you know. And it's not to say that Black folks, you know, Black folks are the most very welcoming, loving people. After all the shit that we done ever been through, we are the most loving community people when it comes to everyone else coming in. There's no gatekeeping. As much as people want to gaslight you and say, "Oh, well, they make us feel like we're not." Well, that's a lie. You know, a whole bunch of people, they don't got to do nothing but sing a little with a little riff here and there, a little, you know, little scat in their singing voice, and all of a sudden they invited to the cookout. You know, it's not easy to get a part in the Black community for others. You know, they always have a spot, and we ain't even gonna get on colorism and all that. But you know, I'm gonna leave that alone. But as far as the angry Black woman stereotype, and that just that word curse that's been placed on Black women, but everyone seeks you out for your help and your support, and you're supposed to be here and you're supposed to validate everybody else, you know. And I was telling my daughter this because she used to wear her hair in an afro for a long time. She loves her afro, beautiful, right? She would have people at school make fun of her hair, and especially, sadly enough, Black kids making fun of her hair. And I said to her, you can never please anybody. the whole world will tell you, especially when it comes to the aesthetic of Black women, it is so scrutinized all the time. You're too fat, you're too thick, you're too this, your lips is too big, your nose is too big, your hair is too kinky, too nappy. But when you straighten it out, oh, you're trying to be like a white woman, or you got a weave on, or you're trying to be somebody else. You know, and I tell her, don't ever shape your world around what other people think about you, because you're never going to make nobody happy. They're always going to have something to say about you, especially Black women. You can't wear lashes, you can't wear fake nails, but everybody else can. That's the thing. Everybody else can wear makeup, everybody else can wear weaves, but you can't. You're being fake. You don't love yourself when you do that, right? But everybody else can't. You know, the song that's playing, wow, it's Judy Mowat, Black Woman. I love this song. Um, yeah. So how do I even explain this? I'm gonna have to pull out my Mother Mary Oracle cards too at the end, just as a message. But if you are someone that genuinely loves people, and that includes Black people, because people say that they love everyone, but the truth is the world as a whole seems to, or seemingly does not love Black people. I say things that might be uncomfortable to some people because it sheds a light on things that people don't want to face within themselves, and that's cool. But you know, if you can sleep at night, but when it comes to white supremacy, it is very narcissistic. Um, the world loves to take things from Black people and culture, but they don't love and show up for Black people, especially not Black women, especially Black women. No, no. And people, oh, don't make this a race thing, bitch. Well, let's make it a humanity thing then, right? Let's make it a humanity thing. Since that makes you uncomfortable, because, like I said, narcissism is a demon. I swear it is. You know. Um, Before I get into the message, I want to read this poem here, or message that I wrote, and I sat on it. I was going to post it in like a text form, like on a post or something like that on social media, but I'm like, I mean, I still might, but I want to read it because I feel led to. Um, White supremacy is narcissism at its core, an obsession with one's own image so profound that the entire world has been forced to conform to a conditioning that elevates whiteness as the standard of purity, beauty, and righteousness. Anything outside of that, demonized, devalued, and dismissed. The gaslighting is relentless, cloaked in denial and willful ignorance. Quote, quote unquote, I don't see color, as if erasing someone's identity is a form of some sort of comfort that was a long time ago, as if generational trauma dissolves on command. Not everything is about race, as if the system built to preserve power doesn't scream otherwise. Racism is alive and well, not because people whisper slurs, but because it's all embedded in the fabric of society, ensuring that those in power never have to acknowledge the wounds they inflict. The pain of others is dismissed, minimized under the weight of white supremacy's entitlement. God forbid anyone else surpasses the artificial limits set for them, those same limits designed to give you a head start. The fear isn't just losing power, it's the inability to share glory, success, or humanity with those who were conditioned to believe that they were lesser than you. From birth, you have benefited from the unearned favor of a system that prioritizes your existence, not by divine right, but by a man-made supremacy. And the moment that system is challenged, that fragility sets in. Selective inclusivity, when equality becomes a threat. Why is it that when a beauty outside of whiteness is celebrated, suddenly it's all women are beautiful? Why is it that when Black love is uplifted, it makes you uncomfortable, and suddenly, shouldn't we all love one another? And let's not forget the infamous all lives matter, a deflection weaponized only when Black people assert that our lives matter too. White supremacy has never been about equality. It was always about dominance. And the moment that dominance is questioned, the narrative shifts, the goalposts move, and the discomfort sets in. Because the truth is, equality feels like oppression to those who are used to privilege. The truth remains is this: white supremacy was never about equality, it was always about dominance. That's my message. And Kirby's Eve Jean is playing. I love this song. It was she released this on my birthday one of the years. I don't know if it was 2 years, 3 years ago. This was on my birthday. So I love this song. Yeah. So yeah, I had to get that off real quick, child. You know, and if you genuinely do love people, black people as a whole, as a part of loving people, because it's so sad that we have to separate, but at the same time, it is beautiful to have a distinction of variety and culture and difference in a sense that you can celebrate the difference. But I notice with humans, it's like we can't celebrate something that's different because it's outside of our comfort zone. You got to get in and lay down to fit in with someone, and or with a person, and that speaks of someone else's comfort level within their own self. And an elder, I think she's an actress. I recognize her face. My friend sent me her post Friday. She said something so profound that, well, I guess she was being casted for a part, and someone told her, "We want you to be the same weight that you were as this character," something along the lines of that. And she was like, basically, hold on, I got a phone call. Okay, I had a phone call, y'all. My bad. Basically, her message was like, a person, people that want you to conform into what they want you to be, a part of you that they felt comfortable with. It's like, that speaks of their own issues. Um, Hold on, let me text my sis back. Yeah. When other people don't like you being your authentic self, it's like, well, we want you to be comfortable with, I want to be comfortable with who I, know you to be, or that part of you that feels comfortable. You know how they say, like, people usually like certain people in their spaces that don't rock the boat too much. There's a saying in the black community that's like, if you're mellow and you're yellow, you kind of, I don't know, I can't remember the saying. I almost want to say you can be my fellow, but I don't think that's how it goes. But if you're the token, as they call it, the token black girl, token black guy, that you could be the only. Oh, I have a black friend, and you're just that black friend that's kind of stationized. That designated. See, I have a black friend. I'm not racist. I'll never forget this woman at this market we went to. It was like a um what do you call it? Not a flea market. It was like one of those little cute little southern type style little supermarkets. It was a mini market where the lady, it was a older white woman. You could tell she was from the South. She had like organic fruits and vegetables and stuff. My grandma would always go to her market to get her stuff, like her fruits and vegetables and stuff that she couldn't find at the grocery store. So she would, go support this lady. And my grandma called her out, like, oh, you could speak to, it was a white man and his Asian woman, his Asian girlfriend or wife, I don't know, his partner. And she was like, well, you could speak to them and you haven't even acknowledged me. I've been in the store the whole time. And she was like, oh, don't go there. I am not a racist. My black friend works for me. And, and it was like that typical, your black friend that works for you. It's like, my maid is black. She's my friend. It's like, it's just those things. And if you don't get it, you'll be like, oh my God, you're making such a big deal out of it. But like the truth is, like, people be knowing the truth. And it's uncomfortable to admit like, oh, I'm really low-key a racist. I'm really, I benefit off of white supremacy, and I'm just gonna pretend like it don't exist. I'm gonna gaslight y'all to the day we die and say, oh, that doesn't exist. It's crazy. Um, it's just like it makes people uncomfortable to face and confront the things within themselves that are out of order and out of alignment. Especially in the spiritual community, I've heard so many black women speak on, and sometimes even Latina women speak on feeling, and this is not because I know this feels like an attack to some, said Caucasian person. I know it's gonna feel like, oh, she's attacking us, you know. Again, I know white supremacy has coddled you into thinking that the world is all centered around you. It's all about you, boo. And if it's about anybody else, like something's wrong. There's a glitch in the matrix for someone else to be getting attention, or for me to be called out on my bullshit and take accountability. How dare you? I was about to say the N-word. I don't know, somebody, because that's like the favorite word curse is to call someone an N-word with a hard R at the bottom or at the end of it. And at this day and age, it's like, bitch, like that don't mean nothing, that's all you have. But unfortunately, when it comes to uncomfortability with calling things out as they are, I'm only okay with you being who I want you to be. You got to talk like this, or be this way. And even sometimes I'm comfortable with Black people that are ignorant. Some people like that stereotypical Black people, like, oh, because this is what is depicted on television and media, so I'm comfortable as long as you're this. But if you ever show a side of intelligence, then it's like, oh, who do you think you are? Let me put you in your place. But I remember a woman talking about her experience where she went to some sort of women's retreat or community thing for women in the spiritual community, and it was mainly uh you know other people, and her being the minority, it was like they were kind of ostracizing her, like keep kind of pushing her out, being very dismissive of her. And I've heard this quite a bit, and that's unfortunate. You know what I mean? Because if you're talking about like a spiritual thing, spiritual has nothing to do with where you come from, in a sense of I'm going to separate myself from you because you're another race, rather than being, because people always say, oh, we're all one, right? And you love the, oh, namaste. But that's not real. And that's why I say some people just love to use spirituality as a means of cloaking themselves in some type of character that they feel like makes them feel like shit, or makes them feel better because they feel like shit as a regular human being without all that spiritual shit. But they're still shitty people. And I think I've shared this story before where I went to this, it's like a spiritual shop, kind of like a hippie store or whatever. And it was mainly, Caucasian people working there. And they were just very rude. And I've heard a lot of people say that going to that store as a minority, they're very rude. And they're walking around with dreadlocks and things like that, which is that is representative of culture, walking around with tie-dye and Bob Marley shit all on the wall and Jimi Hendrix shit all on the wall, and the typical shit, right? The Rastafarian lions and shit in the wall. But y'all, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's it's really a costume. Spirituality is really a costume for people. And white supremacy, I mean, can still exist within the spiritual community. It happens. If you're not willing to face the part of yourself, because white supremacy it's a demonic energy. It is. If you think about it, if you go back in historical times, even past so-called slavery, civil rights movement, Black Lives Matter movement, if you go far back in time, the desire for power and control and dominance. I will murk this person. I will this person. I will just, people are so-called, the savages, but you acting like a motherfucking savage, coming and wrecking shit in somebody else's community, their home, their environment, and just causing, and just for entertainment, loving to watch people be tortured and shit, and have your kids sit around and watch that shit. That is a demonic energy. Tell me it is not. Tell me it is not. Like, is that not a demonic energy? Like, it has to be. You hate me because my skin color. That's ridiculous. There's a law that was passed in Louisiana, and I can't remember I think it was in the 1800s. I could be wrong. In Louisiana, it was a law. I think it was called the Tolgan Law. Oh my God. Y'all might have to Google this because my memory is shitty sometimes and I don't want to misinform people. But it was a law where they had one of the ladies felt some type of way about the attention that, these African American women were getting because of their hair. And because of the whole class thing, like, okay, the upper class, we need to separate the classes. You need to cover your hair with these scarves. And I think that's what the scarves were called. It was something with a T. And these women, instead of being oppressed with saying, oh, we have to cover our natural hair because it's making these women uncomfortable, well, let's put some feathers in it. Let's put some little flowers in it. Make the shit jazzy, right? Let's make it jazzy because, you know, whenever we get oppressed, we take that shit and we make ourselves, we progress past that. Okay, whatever you throw at us, okay. You're gonna throw us pig scraps and things like that and figure out what we're gonna eat. Oh, we're gonna make soul food. Now y'all eating the slaves' food now. And we call it soul food nowadays. Yes, thank you. Yes, that's what it is. Thank you, sis. Thank you, Dara. Um, but yeah, that whole thing, like, is crazy. And it's just so funny. Like I said, that's why I told my daughter, like, girl, you can't worry about what people say about you and your appearance, especially not your hair, your God-given hair that people sometimes love and they hate. I notice wearing natural hair, especially when you have 4C hair, I notice the mixed reviews that you get. Like, honestly, I have only had one one Caucasian woman or person look at me crazy, or maybe, no, I take that back too. At work, especially, because, oh, God forbid, your natural hair at work. Oh, that's just so unprofessional, right? Or you can't even wear braids. You cannot wear locks. Oh, God forbid that. Where some people are being told at school that they can't come to school with braids, or they got to cut their locks out, or at work, that's unprofessional. Oh, you're not going to get the promotion with them locks. That shit is crazy to me. But anyway, I noticed that some people actually loved it. But then there's, unfortunately, Black people, that thing where they'll make fun of your hair texture. If you don't have quote unquote good hair that's silky and, it's not curling and twirling in a certain way with just water and a little bit of product, but if it just like 4C standing up, just thick as cotton and wool, oh, God forbid that. Just like really crazy, crazy, crazy. Um, so unfortunately, you're not going to be able to fit into everybody's box of what is beautiful, because you're always going to hear it, especially as a woman, and especially most definitely as a Black woman. You're never going to be able to please the world. They're going to find something about you that they don't like. You're too much of this, or you're too less of that. Oh, you're wearing makeup. Oh, well, you don't wear makeup at all. You're not feminine enough. Oh, your hair is nappy. You don't like your natural hair. It's just like, God damn, so you can't fix people. Yes, Dar articulated that far better than I did, but let's get into I have to turn this thing off because it's making this noise every time my charger charges on and off. So going back to the Sibyls, um, they had temples that remained untouched throughout wars, conquest, and time itself, which was a testament to the status that the Sibyls held. Even the most powerful rulers dared not to defile these spaces where the Sibyls, spoke, for their counsel was seen as a direct link to the gods. So the women held no political titles, but yet they did shape the course of history through their words, through their prophecies. Right. Yeah. So much of these sibyls, they had these prophetic wisdoms that were absorbed into religious texts, including parts of the Holy Bible, which is very interesting as well to learn that, to have learned that, where their messages were also attributed to male prophets instead. So if you notice in the Bible, the Holy Bible, they don't really give too much credit to the women in there. They'll have like a few women that they'll highlight as like, you know, waymakers and, shifted things, and Queen Esther's and things like that. And then you'll have those women that didn't follow the religions of that time, and they were usually the ones that were demonized as well. Um, so their miracles, also their healing powers, were replaced with the story of Christ. So in this book, it actually talks about that, how these prophetesses, these sibyls, had the gifting and the power and the ability to heal their blindness, all the things that basically they were saying that Christ was able to do, all the healing works that he had, that he was gifted. they were able to do that way before a Christ was even born or a thing in history. So their spiritual authority was once a undeniable power, which was stripped away. You know, their gifts being demonized, their names being reduced to just myths or buried under this like these patriarchal narratives and story. You know what I mean? Ooh, yeah, that's the dove. Yeah, yep. The ancient world knew them as the truth bearers and divine messengers, but history turned them into shadows. The same prophecies that once commanded the respect of rulers were later rebranded as hearsay, witchcraft, and forbidden knowledge. Divination is often demonized and categorized by the Christian church as dark practices against God. The word divination actually is derived from the Latin word divinar. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. To be inspired by God, and divinus, which is of God. So, to be inspired by God or to be of God is where the word divination comes from. So their wisdom still flows in the hidden texts, the oral traditions, and the ancestral memory of those who feel called to seek their truth. Shout out to us that are here. Hopefully, that is why you're here. The spirit cannot be erased, their power cannot be diminished, and their prophecies still echo for those ready to listen. So, this afternoon, we're going to honor the Black Dove Prophetesses, not as the forgotten, but as the living voices. If you feel drawn to them, or maybe because you too carry their wisdom within you, welcome. So what we're going to tap into is the wisdom. Like, what do they have? What wisdom do the Sibyls have for us? What illusions may need to be shattered? And how can we align with their prophecy and divine guidances at this time or whenever you come across this? So, all right, without further ado, let's call upon the Sibyls and unveil their stolen knowledge and receive their guidance once more. Okay, Ashe, let's get it. Let's do it. All right, so like I said, I'm going to use a few decks that I feel guided to. One of them being the Biblical Tarot. We're going to use that because this deck kept calling out to me, child. The Oracle of Delphi. We're going to tap into that as well. Ooh, I like that. Mystic is just another word smitten with God. Okay, I like that. You better brand that child. I don't know if that's somebody else's, inspiration or that's all you, but I would brand that. If it's not somebody else's, obviously. But the Sibyls, we're gonna use the Sibyl of the Oracle of the Black Dove Oracle as well. And this has a system, so you have to read it a certain way. So I'm gonna hold on to that one last, and I might pull from the Mother Mary oracles because I feel guided to do that as well. All right, let's get it. Thank you. Shout out to the Sibyls known and unknown that is in our bloodline. Those that exist on the planet and the earth, known and unknown. We give thanks, gratitude, honor to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your contribution. Amen. Yep, they were. There was a picture of one in this book, actually. Um, I mean, I hate to say it, but y'all, I mean, it is the thing. A lot of these Sibyls were, they later like whitewash them like they do everything. Um, they'll take saints, they'll take some of these Sibyls, um these figures in history and turn them and like whitewash them or change their image. And you'll see that a lot in Greece. You know, a lot of the Sibyls, they've changed them into an image that they like, pretty much, obviously. But anywho, that's a whole other topic. We're not gonna get into that. We already talked about it. I mean, if white supremacy makes you uncomfortable, maybe that's a demon that is hovering you or in you. You got to work on that. And I spoke on that in other readings. Like, if you get uncomfortable with these topics, it's probably something that's like in you that needs to be purged out. Because that's the spirit. I'm telling you. There's nothing pure, nothing natural about the essence and aura of a fucking white supremacist, racist. That there's nothing natural and organic or healthy or powerful or loving about that energy. It's demonic. It's straight up just evil. Straight up. Each of the Sibyls were named to their location where they prophesied their text from. Well, at least they teaching you that. I mean, that's a blessing within itself, not to even keep that, because that is a big part. Roman culture, if I'm not mistaken, there was a prophetess. I believe one of the first Sibyls were in Ethiopia, Greece, Rome, Spain, I believe. Some of these Sibyls actually were stolen and like put into like slavery and servitude and kind of forced to prophesy to certain people. It was just crazy. All right, so what messages are the prophetesses speaking to you right now? Like, what is their core prophecy or message? Maybe something that you already know that you must answer to. It could be something you're ignoring, something that's meant to guide you forward. Like, what is the prophecy that's being revealed to you? I guess they're like, just all that. Just all that. Good. Just take it all. All right. The Ace of Feathers, Saul's conversion. This is from the book of Acts, chapter 9, verse 4. Ace of Feathers, which is Ace of Swords in this deck. King of Feathers. This is my dude right here. I love me some King Solomon, okay? King Solomon is the King of Feathers, King of Swords, the judgment of Solomon. This depicts the book of Kings, First Kings, chapter 3:27. The judgment between the two women with the baby was one of the women rolled over her baby and thought she was being slick and tried to take the other woman's baby while she was sleeping. And they were like, how do y'all not know what baby belongs to you? Is just crazy, but you know, it's metaphoric. Um, yeah. So King Solomon was like, well, if I split this baby down the middle, like, because he was like, if I do this, I know the real mom is going to speak, because the one that not the baby's mama, she ain't gonna fight too much on that because it's not her baby. Um, Interesting. Hold on. So Five of Chalices, the prodigal son, which is from the book of Luke, chapter 15, verse 14. The 10 of grains with the 10 of pentacles, which is God's promise to Abraham. The book of Genesis, chapter 13, verse 15, or 13, verse 15. Sorry. The 8 of grains, which is the 8 of pentacles with the craftsman, coming from the book of John, chapter 4, verse 14. The 8 of cups. The ascension of Jesus from the book of Acts, chapter 1, verse 9. Chalices, the queen of chalices, which is the queen of cups. Hannah, the mother of faith. I love the story of Hannah. She gave birth to the prophet Samuel, which appointed King Saul. Interesting. Okay, I'm seeing like some connections to some of these cards. So the queen of chalices is Hannah from the book of Samuel, First Samuel chapter 1, verse 27 through 28. King of Wands, which is the King of Candles with Mr. King David. King David is connected to Solomon. I think he is of the bloodline of Abraham as well, if I'm not mistaken. But the King David, I love his story as well. He is depicted here from 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 9, if y'all care about the scriptures. Okay. Bottom of the deck is the Two of Feathers with God testing Abraham's faith with the book of Genesis, chapter 22, verse 2. So you have Abraham twice, which he was the father of all nations, right? The father of Israel, which is just Isis, Ra, and El. So we ain't going. I'm doing too much. Let me slow down, because I think that I have to piece things in a way that's like making sense, because I think sometimes when I do things, it's like kind of all over the place and it may not make sense. Because I don't articulate things well often. It's like kind of confusing, so I have to slow down because my brain is like, oh, it goes over here and then it goes over there. I don't know if that's a form of ADHD or something. Who knows? But Yeah, so let's tap into these prophecies. What is the message? What is the core message that they are revealing to you? I feel led to start with the kings. Interesting that we have the ace of swords first. It's like the initiation into something. Okay. I feel like for a lot of you, like the Sibyls, they have Prophet Samuel as kind of like this counsel to King Saul and things like that for his prophecies, his messages, which his mother Hannah gave birth. Her prayer, her desire for her baby, she had a prayer that was desired by God, essentially. Her prayer was a prophecy, meaning that if she didn't give birth to Samuel, he may have not been appointing Saul. He may have never appointed King David. You know what I'm saying? And so on and so forth. And the history that comes from these powerful players in the Bible, right? These prophecies, these things that have to come to pass. So her prayer of just wanting a child, wanting a baby to love, not knowing that what she was praying for was a prophet that the people needed. You know what I'm saying? So there's something inside of you, a seed, a desire, a prayer inside of you that actually is a prophecy that's needed. So Hannah, if you know Hannah's story, if you read her story, she prayed for a child um to the point where it became so painful that it is like the evidence of that baby not being there because she had her husband's second wife kind of there antagonizing her. She was able to bear children for her husband, but Hannah wasn't. She, the other wife, Hannah, she wasn't able to. So that's a very painful thing to see other people getting blessed in the area or things that you've been praying for and asking for. It's a very testy thing, but remember, those prayers that you desire so much, and I'm not talking about things that are not in alignment with you, because a baby is a beautiful thing, but if it's like something that is not of the highest good, and I can't really say what that is because that depends on the person. A lot of times I use this as an example. People praying for a specific man or woman, and that man or woman may not be the person that is meant for you, right? And that's not in alignment with the highest good for you. The desire of a divine love is the prophecy. So the desire there for that child. So if she would have been, oh God, I only want a baby girl, or oh God, I only want a baby boy. If she was only praying for a baby girl, that was out of order with her prophecy. It's not the desire of a child is not out of alignment, but being saying to God, I only want a baby that's this gender or looks like this, or I want my baby to have this color eyes or this. Oh, I hope my baby ain't this skin tone. Some black people is ignorant with that. I don't want my baby to be too dark. Oh, please God, don't let my baby be dark type stuff. This stupid shit. Um, if that was that's not the prophecy. The prophecy is the seed, the base, the foundation, the baby, or that divine connection that you desire. That is a prayer. That's something that is genuine. It's coming from the soul. But when you start kind of like tainting that prophecy and putting like superficial things and limiting it, then that's when it becomes out of alignment. But you have something that is stored inside of you that you're meant to give birth to, and it's a passion behind it, but it's not a passion coming from the ego. It's not coming from a lower place. It's coming from the soul. It's coming from God. Let me read the scripture on Hannah real quick. It says, I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I had asked of him. So now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life, he will be given over to the Lord. You know what I noticed? And I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but I'm pretty sure if you prayed for something that is in alignment with God's will, and what I mean by God's will, not like this religious God, but like the higher source creating God, the God source energy inside of you, the highest self. When you're praying for things that are in alignment with that, it's usually you're thinking about the blessing that it's going to be, not just for you, but how it's going to bless your world around you, the environment, the people around you. I remember when I had my first sound bath, and it was a leap of faith because I have never put myself out there in that way to create and have an event, like a public event, and have people show up. I've never put myself out there in that way. So it was like very scary. The self-sabotage started to like try to peek in, imposter syndrome tried to like pop up, but I wrote this mission statement and I wanted to write it down because I'm like, when this event happens and however it unfolds, I want to come back and I want to read this and see like if it came to pass in a way. And almost to the T of everything that I read, my mission statement, what I wanted this sound healing to be for people, how I wanted it to have an effect on people in a healing way. Like I wanted to do that. And everything just became in alignment, even down to the venue choices, the name of the venue. Everything was so in alignment that it was crazy. And that prophecy, that prayer was not just for me. When I do sound healing, it almost like with what I do with tarot, it's to help people, to heal, to deliver a message. So when I did the sound bath, I think of myself as like the spiritual DJ. Like I'm just kind of they're my bowls and my turntables, my instruments. I'm creating a energy, a vibe, a sound, a frequency, a language when I do that. And I do it all intuitively. I let God guide me. And it's such a beautiful thing. I love doing that. Like I love doing sound healing sessions. And so I wrote down a mission statement of what I wanted to be. And it came to pass to the T. It came, you know? Yes. Yes. Everything that I wrote, it came to pass for real. So whatever this energy is, it's like it's coming from a deeper core place. Yes, Dara said, and where is it at? Because it is no longer a dream, it's a covenant. Yeah, the covenant with God. Let me read King Saul's message. So it says, he fell to the ground and heard a voice say to him, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? So Saul had a little rebellious fall at later on in his story. Um, but the thing with Saul is like God will call certain people for a time, but the true king that was supposed to be in this position was King David. King David was one of those that were overlooked. And I feel like Spirit wants people to know, because you may have prophesied people's downfalls. I know that I don't want to like celebrate people's downfalls, but I do celebrate justice in instances. You know, um certain things have to be corrected that are out of order, right? And if you prophesy to people that they need to get their life in order, not because you're coming down on them trying to judge them and blame them and so on and so forth. It's not about that. Um it has nothing to do with that. You know, what it more so has to do with is you letting people know where they may need correction and step out of scene. Once you say that out of your mouth, what you're guided to say, if you're guided to lovingly correct somebody, and it's up to them whether they take heed or not, because God is always going to pursue us. Our intuition, our inner knowing is always going to pursue us and let us know when we're out of order, out of alignment, right? Give us that fair warning, that heads up. Saul was a very rebellious person, and you can become so rebellious in your ego, in your self-centeredness, that you miss what your what your whole purpose and call is, or how you can be a service, a help through your own desires and prayers and wishes, right? The thing with Saul, I feel like, is that maybe you guys have your mouthpiece, because you have a lot of prophets here. Um, you have King Solomon in this position of being a righteous judge. So whatever it is that comes out of your mouth as the king of feathers, the feathers. Come on now, Sibyls. Thank you. The Black Dove Prophetesses. Yes, shout out to y'all. The messages. You are a messenger. You are a rightful judge. And what I mean by a judge is not like you're coming down on people, like pointing down on your finger at somebody, but you're separating, like, okay, so with these two women, like, okay, you say this is your baby, right? Let me have that baby. Somebody give me a baby. Somebody give me a sword. Take that sword, and it's like, okay, if I split this, like, I'm trying to see something. So you're telling me that this is your baby, and this other woman is crying and screaming, saying that that is her baby. Let's see. Let me see who's lying. Okay, the mother that cares for the baby, she gonna cry out screaming because she know that's her baby. This other woman gonna stay quiet because she already know what's up. It's not her baby. She looks stupid. So it's a rightful judgment to call things out as they are, you know? And people get so uptight with things because if I was sitting in the temple with this going on and I'm watching, I know that King Solomon would never do that to a child, right? But just like it's a scary thing, like, oh my God, like it's a heart wrenching thing, like, oh my God, what he gonna do? What is he about to do? But it's like sometimes you gotta be real cutthroat and straightforward with people in a sense like that. Like you have to call things out. If you keep it too mellow, keep it too black and white, a person thinks in their mind that I have a choice to just be a liar, or I can sit in things that are out of alignment within myself. I can just play both sides because what are the consequences of that? Nothing's calling me out. Nothing's calling me to it. But still, at the end of the day, free will. People will still choose to do what they're gonna do. People are gonna choose to do what they're gonna do. You may have had times where you've had to lay down your desires and say, you know, if it's not meant, God, I let it go. And once you surrender, that's an act of surrendering. Because when you're holding on to something, you're not allowing the energy to progress and flow and grow. If you're holding on to your prayer, your wishes, you're becoming anxious, you're becoming desperate, or you're becoming in fear, or you're trying to control it. It doesn't allow the energy to flow. So, you know, I don't agree with this. Like some things in the Bible is just too extreme for me. But, you know, if you look at it from a certain way, just kind of depends on how you perceive the message, how you decode the message for yourself in a way that either brings you inspiration, wisdom, guidance, you know, an oracle, if you know, depending on how you perceive it. With the two of feathers, it's God tests Abraham's faith where he takes his baby, he gets instructed to, if you lay down your child, you know, it's like that test, and he was gonna do it. He was gonna lay down his child, and then God was like, nah, I was just testing you. I don't really like this story like that, but if you look at it from a perception, or I guess the baby being your desire, the baby being your destiny, your fate, something that you want to see happen in your life. If you look at it from that perspective, sometimes you do have to lay it down, because if you're making an idol out of it, if you're putting so much power into it that is stressing you out, or um, you put it on this pedestal or this altar. You see how he laid this baby on the altar, you know, um, you got to lay it down sometimes. And if you notice that when you do surrender to things, things actually do start to progress and move. Have you ever noticed that? It's almost like when you lose your keys, you're like, where the hell is my keys? And then you're just like, oh, F it. I guess I'm not going to be able to go right now. Let me sit my ass down because I'm getting frustrated trying to find these keys. And then the keys are sitting right on the table. And you're just like, really? Really? Okay. You know how it happens. When you say, okay, I'm not even going to stress about that. I'm tripping, whatever. I'm annoyed. You lay it down. That's when things actually start to progress and move forward. So there's a different message. It's like multiple messages in one. But I do believe that you are a righteous judge and you are meant to speak to certain people. And some people have to go their own way. You've been there. It's another thing too. God saved you from the ruin, you know? Sometimes like, you can identify with other people's story because you've been there too. So, there might have been times where people have told you things that you didn't want to hear, or that you feel like someone was coming down on you or making you, think less of yourself. Because sometimes like correction does feel like an attack. It does. Um, Especially if it's like, because when a person, you can tell when a friend or family member gets fed up with your ass because they finally tell you, you know what, if you're not happy with the situation, why don't you just leave? And you're like, damn. You didn't have to say it like that. You didn't have to come at me like that. When in actuality, it's like, when are we going to get to a place where we decide for ourselves what's of our highest good? And sometimes it takes the fall. The falling on your ass. With the prodigal son, with the 5 of cups, it's like you got to see sometimes like the path that you want to take. You got to sometimes, I don't feel like everybody should just abuse their journey and say, oh, because, oh, I want this man or this woman so much, I don't care if they abusing me and hurt me and harming me. We're going to see what happens. No. You know, there are some journeys where some people, you can't tell them who to love and who not to love. You can't tell them what's best for them or not. I mean, you can lay it on the table and be like, hey, sis, like this, this guy, you keep telling me about him. He don't sound like he's good for you. You deserve better. You know, why are you putting yourself through that? You need to love yourself better. And to a person that's like, I'm stuck on this person, I want this person, that's like, bitch, who the fuck you talking to? You ain't talking to me. You ain't telling me that I'm not, being in my truth and my worth. Who are you to tell me who to love? I love this man. You don't know him like I know him. You know that energy, right? Sometimes you got to go down your own path to see that it's not for you without somebody telling you. You know, especially if you're a stubborn motherfucker like me. Like back in the day, like I was really stuck on stupid. And I had so many different corners of people telling me in so many different ways that, this is not the right situation for you, blah, 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 blah. And some of it was passive aggressive, um, but later on, I did find that, and I knew I wasn't in a good situation. I knew I wasn't happy, but it's like, I got to see it for myself, or I got to make this happen on my own, or I'm going to try to fix it, or let me fix myself, right? Because we think that, oh, if I fix myself, then that's going to make somebody act better rather than this motherfucker need to fix themselves. Or how better yet, we both need to fix ourselves in order for a relationship to really be something. But no, we're stupid. Sometimes we just goofy sometimes as humans. We got to bump our heads a few times. And that's usually where we learn the most valuable lessons of when we fall on our ass. So falling on your ass doesn't mean failure. Sometimes it just means redirection. Sometimes it means, knocking your head around until the marbles come back in alignment together. Because sometimes they scatter. That happens. But eventually you will return back to yourself, back to wholeness and fullness within yourself, to where you see where you left, where you went. So if you are a righteous judge, it's because in a sense you may know what it's like. You may know what it's like to be dishonest and say, oh no, this is mine. And then it's like, no, it's not. We're gonna test that, because little kids, when you put them on the spot, some of them crack. Like, okay, mom, I'm sorry, it was me, I did it. It's kind of like that. When you lying. Some people good at lying, so it's scary. But like, if you really, like, you really genuinely have a conscience, you have a heart, you have a integrity about you, you can't stand in the lie for too long. You just can't. What in the heck is this? I'm stuck on this one question. I'm so sorry, you guys, but there's so many cards that came out. But there's a promise here. You have all the land that you see, I will give to you and your offspring forever, with Genesis. So yeah, it's like this prayer blessing is just going to multiply. It's going to extend. And it could be like, some people might think that this prayer is not that grand, but if you say to yourself, I want me and all of my future generations to know what a healthy love looks like, what healthy dynamic family structure looks like. And you could think that that little prayer is just like you just saying something out of your mouth, but that prayer extends in, and it actually does come to pass, even if you're not living to see it. So if you say, I want to live a life full of joy and peace, and I want all of those around me to also experience that, that is a beautiful prayer to have. It can seem very simple, plain, but it's something that extends. It's going to multiply. Okay. I didn't think I read him. The King Solomon card. It says, then the king gave his ruling: give the living baby to the first woman. Do not, you know, murk him. She is his mother. Okay. So he makes that righteous judgment to give the baby to the right person. Again, discernment too. Discernment is everything on this path, on your journey of life. You have to have discernment to judge things righteously, even within yourself, not just when it comes to people, but as a messenger, because those of you that are here, you're messengers. You don't have to have no cards and all that. You don't have to, that box that people say that this is how you are a messenger, this is how you should deliver a message, this is what it looks like. That's why I don't ever want to be put in no box. Don't call me no tarot reader. Like, Yeah, I can divine the cards, but I'm not a tarot reader. Like, I don't want to be put in this box of this Miss Cleo, or no disrespect to her, but just like this commercial bullshit of what people think tarot readers are supposed to be. Do not put me in that box. Um, your messages can expand far beyond any, there's no limit, there's no box, there's no label to it. You're just simply a mouthpiece for the divine. Let me read the prodigal son. It says, after he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. Yeah, sometimes you got to go to that place where you think you're going to be thriving and popping, and, because that's just, I got to see, let me see about it. Then once you get there and then it doesn't work out, it's like you had to see and learn the lesson. You go back to that place. You go back to the place where truth lies. Um, home, whatever home is for you. And if it be that this is a prophecy of someone that because some of you, I done gave some people some heads ups before, and I definitely have as well, from people that are just like in my life about things, and it has come to pass. Like, sometimes you gotta be pushed out of your comfort zone. You got to go through some shit in order to really get the message, get the lesson. If you're just like not listening and you think that you can like slow time down, or you think you can just stay in complacency, then you find, you fuck around and find out. And I have given some heads up to people lately, like, hey, like, if you keep dealing with this path, this is, I'm just saying. And then a warning pops up, and then something happens, and I'm like, this is your fair warning. I'm letting you know now, because I said this weeks ago, that if you don't deal with the situation in a particular manner, something is going to happen. And then some little, not too bad, but something enough to be like, okay, that's your fair warning. And I told them, I said, I pray God I ain't around to see it, because I told you, I not like I told you so to like like get at you, but you know you've been warned, type thing. Um, Ezekiel, not Pluto and Aquarius, girl. The famine. I know that word has been coming up a lot. Um, I had this dream. I don't know if I shared this, but I had this dream a while back. It kind of felt like the last pandemic we had, but it was kind of different, because the way that I was seeing it was there was like a family at the grocery store. And spirit, I guess, kind of made it a point to show me that these people actually look like a higher class of people, or at least maybe not like a wealthy family, but at least like, they do well for themselves, maybe than the average middle class people at this time. Um, the store, it was like they were at a grocery store at night, and the clerk, it was like a thing. Like, we knew that we could only buy so much food. It was like there was a limit to how much food you can buy. That was the whole plan. That's what I saw in the dream. If I'm making sense, it's like, let's say, I don't know if it was like a spending limit, or if it was like, if let's say I need bread, I need eggs, I need milk. You can't over exceed getting like 2 cartons of milk, or 3 cartons of eggs, or 3, jugs of milk. Like, you couldn't over exceed a certain amount of food. It was like there was a cap on it, like how much you could have per transaction. Does that make sense? So if one family goes in to buy food, it's like, okay, well, you're only allowed to get this much. That's what it felt like. And this was at a grocery store. I know some food box places that help families in need and things like that, or low income houses, they have like food box places that help, where they will tell you, oh, you have, 3 kids in your household, 2 adults. This is how much, food you can get. This is a list. I remember I was on WIC when I had my daughter. I had WIC, and they would say, you can get this much fruits and vegetables, and this and that, and your baby's milk, this is how much you can have a month, or whatever. So it kind of felt like that, but this was at a grocery store, like a regular grocery store or food market. That's what it was giving. So yeah. Yeah, it was really weird. So that's what I was seeing. But yeah, so hey, you know, whatever the divine has to do. And I see a lot of people, you know, it's a beautiful thing to see a mass amount of people growing their own foods, you know, um, changing their eating habits. So if you've been called to change your eating habits, that's why, because a lot of things that your body has become comfortable with eating, or how much you've been comfortable or conditioned to eat, or your body has kind of structured around a certain eating habit or certain foods that you like to take in. There's going to be, there's a limit to it's going to be that, because there may be certain foods that are no longer going to be available. And if you're out of alignment with yourself, you're going to freak out, because you're going to think, oh my God, this is the end of the world, in a sense of like doom and gloom, rather than knowing, like an eagle flying through that motherfucking storm, knowing how to survive, know how to shift and lean with it, rock with it through the storm. If you don't know how to do that, then you're just going to crash out. You know, motherfuckers is going to crash out, because it's like, oh, this and that. And just like with the whole toilet papers and shit, people just acting fucking crazy. Like, for one, you know, I can understand the sanitizing, you know, fanatic, because at that time you didn't know what was going on, you know, with this pandemic. But the toilet paper, now what the fuck you need that much? So like, you think you're gonna be shitting all day or something? Like, if it was like a stomach flu or something, okay, maybe I could see like people being very crazy, like toilet paper crazy. But child, like, you over here, like, I just didn't understand that. Like, that's something I'm just in my head. I don't know if that's like one of those things that you have to laugh about, like it's like a glitch where it's like you just have to laugh, because it's like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all, for real? Like, why the toilet? Like, this, like, help me understand, okay? Y'all gonna have to help me understand what the toilet paper, because somebody logically explain what was the obsession with the toilet paper at that time. You know, yeah, the fighting over resources, because people act crazy. Like, you see how people are at Black Friday over some TVs and some PlayStations and some sneakers. How people like really just, you would think, like, that's why sometimes I'm like, they be talking we in assimilation. I'm like, sometimes it does feel like a GTA fucking video game. How people act sometimes, it's just, that's just what it gives sometimes. Just if you stroll down the streets of LA, it looks like literally like something out of GTA. It's just crazy. But downtown LA specifically, it's just anyway, we ain't gonna get into that. That's just like depressing to think about, going down there sometimes, and just, it's just, I don't know. Like, this might be, I'm not the only person that has said this, but I'll speak for myself though when I say that LA is really a demonic place to me. Like, I love the ocean, don't get me wrong. I love visiting my family and stuff out there, but there's certain areas just as a whole in LA that gives me just this grossest vibe. And specifically, like, when you're downtown LA, it's like where they have like the stars, that little walk right there. Then they have the Capitol Records building right there, which looks weird to me. Like, something about that, just, I don't know why. And then at night, I remember passing through past the mountain, the Hollywood Hills, and I just felt like this weird, just gross, eerie, like I'm on fucking Outer Limits or something. It just gave this weird, creepy fucking vibe. And then there's a venue down there. I think it's something bowl. It has like looks like an angel or some sort of statue figure woman thing. Even driving past that shit made me feel disgusted. I was just like, ooh, I want to go home. Like, like, I don't want to be over here. I don't know. It made me feel really weird. I don't like it. Made me feel weird as hell. I'm just like, you know what? I got to go. Let's drive past this shit if we can, because that area right there specifically creeps me out. Daytime or night, it don't matter. That shit is just weird. But yeah. But yeah, your work, your hands, your work, your craft, whatever it is, you might have like a season where you're called to a certain place or a certain job, or I don't know, a certain field or some sort of environment, that it's just a seasonal, like it's time for you to pass through that. Okay. Um, oh, wow. I didn't know that. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Hmm. I'm gonna have to sit with that and figure out what that is. Like, what is it? The state seal. Okay. Yeah, but this, you're going to ascend past that place. Like sometimes, like with YouTube, I don't know. Like I have that push and pull sometimes where I feel like I'm supposed to be on here at times, and there's times where I feel like I'm being called from this space sometimes. But everything has its season. Like where you have you have an assignment, or you're placed at a certain place where it doesn't even have to be that you're there thinking like, oh, this is my assignment. Sometimes God will place you in environments, or link you with people, connections, friendships, relationships for a season where your energy, you are the messenger. Just the way that you move and live your life, you as a person is a messenger, is an example, right? Whether that's of the highest good or not. Because I don't know, this is so interesting. I just noticed this. One of the craftsmen, he has a blue attire on. This other one has like a red attire on. So it's like red pill, blue pill. So you might be that red pill to those that are kind of sleeping and unaware of certain things, or maybe help them to ascend and to awaken with the Eight of Cups. This is the ascension of Christ, ascension of Jesus. Two eights, Eight of Pentacles, Eight of Cups. So that number 8 can represent something significant for you, or this could be like a karmic cycle as well. Um, the craftsman, it says so Bizel. Hopefully I'm saying their name right. I cannot see this. My eyesight is toe back. Oliab. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right either. And every skilled person to whom the Lord has given skill and ability to know how to carry out all of the work of constructing the sanctuary are to do the work just as the Lord has commanded. Are these people wrestling in the back, or am I tripping? No, they working. I'm like, what are these people doing in the back? I thought they were arm wrestling. And then the Eight of Chalices, it says, after he said this, he was taken up before their very eyes, and a cloud hid him from their sight. Yeah, some people may not talk to you or see you anymore. Maybe it was just like you was just breezing through, like, hey, I was just meant to deliver this message. Not my both of my devices, my little old ass iPhone and my iPad, both got 88% battery. Look up that number 88, y'all. I don't know why that's there. That's interesting. Interesting, spirit. Let me know what y'all find. Or you can single that digit out into one digit. But that's interesting. Then Queen of Chalices, yes. Hannah, the mother of faith, Prophet Samuel's mother. And then we have Mr. King David. Mr. King David, he had, he has some trials too now. Okay. First off, his journey starts off with him being a little baby, right? A little baby that's fighting this big ass man that nobody else wants to fight. Everybody else that's commissioned the battle is like, you can go on ahead. We ain't gonna do that. And the little boy's like, I'll do it. Y'all some scary asses. Let me do it. Let me get my sling. This wasn't no little slingshot. This had power to it. This slingshot was meant for some shit. So he did what he was called to do. He had the bravery, even at a young age, and Samuel, coming in, even though he was a prophet, he still had to work on the discernment a little bit, because he was judging, thinking that, oh, surely this is going to be the king right here, just because this person had the looks, had had the body type, the build that he thinks in his mind, whatever he was labeling as, this is what makes a king. This is what a king looks like, not what is the makings and the character of a king. He wasn't focused on that too much. He was looking at what a king would look like, right? So when he's walking around asking David's father, like, this is all the boys you got in the house, this is all your sons. It's like, no, we got this little peak squeak ass ninja in the back. You can go see about him. He's, he's outside. And he's not all big and this and that, but that's who is the one that was appointed to be king. That's who God chose to be king, right? So sometimes it's like with our discernment, we'll look at something and think that this can't be it because this is what it should look like. And this doesn't have to be about a person or you as a physical being, or it could be like a gift that you have. It could be something that you're called to do, a skill, or someone else, or just a blessing. And you'll see it there, but not know that it is a blessing, you know, because of what it looks like rather than the true essence of it, what God is saying. It's like tune your ear in a little bit better, because God had to call Samuel out. He said, I'm not looking at the appearance of the person. I'm looking at the heart of the person. King David, well, he was David, just David at the time, just that young man at the time, he had the heart. He had it in him to be king. Because sometimes people think, I went to Harvard, I did this and I did that, and I got these cars, I got this house, I got this bank account, I know so and so and this and that makes a king. Or he got that $1 million smile, like he's very attractive and this and that, but he ain't got the heart for being a king. He doesn't have the stewardship to even be a king. The heart, the integrity, the mindset, the wisdom. He don't got that. Solomon also too, as a young boy, was looked at as a person of great wisdom, small, like young man, but had wisdom beyond his years. People was coming to this young man. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, King David is Solomon's dad, right? I believe so. Was he Queen Sheba's baby? No, he was messing around with Queen Sheba, Solomon. All right. I got my peoples mixed all the way up, child. Yeah. So that's that message. We got stuck at just I haven't even got through the entire reading yet, y'all. That was just like the first half of it. Okay. He was Jesse's, born of Ruth and Boaz. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah. So the prophecy, okay. 36 with luminary, activate, brighten, impact, and determine. Bottom of the deck is the seer, see enlightened, visualize, and interpret. I mean, you know that already. I feel like that's just basic shit. You know that already. I want to read these two cards. Let's read the seer first because it's the lesser number, 25, and then we'll read 36. Y'all got time, I got time. All right, so the prophecy, it says, freedom is attained by awakening your psychic vision, okay? By awakening your psychic vision. Now, you have it, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't ascend and grow, right? It doesn't expand, because it does, as you know. All right, so luminary, the prophecy is your sword of wisdom shines a leading light. That is the King Solomon energy. All right. I'm sweating my ass off. I gotta take this hoodie off. Like, why the hell I got a hoodie on? It's hot outside. I should know better. All right, what truth are you not seeing yet? So the Sibyls, they do speak in riddles. So this will reveal what is veiled, hidden, or just waiting to be uncovered. So what's the deeper meaning behind maybe what you're seeking? Is something being withheld for divine timing? Like, what's up? What is the truth that is not being seen? It could be anything. It doesn't have to be what we just picked up on. It could be another thing, another aspect. Ooh, one of my favorite stories. You have another 8. Okay, so now we got triple 8 here. The strength card with Daniel in the lion's den. I love this because this is like that divine, it's like a mixture of divine faith and just divine protection. Like, don't touch my prophets now. You can put them under pressure, but don't fuck with them. Okay, don't. Because Daniel was like, I refuse to bow down to your God. So that means like you stand on your shit. That doesn't mean like a religion or anything. It could be anything that you stand for, believe in. If someone is like, no, you gotta bend to this and this is what it is, you're just gonna have to get along with it. And that's not something that you resonate with. That's not your purpose. That's not your call. And you stand on that shit boldly and confidently. Yeah, you might have some people. It's like, oh well, this is your punishment. This is what we're gonna do, or we're gonna whatever the punishment could be, right? Putting you in that position, it is a test of faith, but it's going to let you know that you're not to be touched. Like no matter what, just because you didn't go, because this is the thing too about ego. A person that's like, oh well, you don't want to play my game. Well, let me punish you. And it's like even when you're doing all of that, like God still has the final say so. So nothing you can do can really truly harm me. You know, it might put me in a place of pressure, might put me in a place of like discomfort, but you can't kill the fire. You can't stop. You can't stop the flow. You can't stop the prophecy. Like it's not happening. And after that was all said and done, the the person, the king that put him in that position, he was ordered to be taken out. Like his story didn't end too well. And then Daniel came up in position because of it. Because of, well, not because of this, but because of the man that he was, the path that he was already down leading, like the path that he was already on, his good works, his integrity, it was already said and done. You know, his path is already set out for him. So nothing this other person could do, no matter what comes up against you, your prophecy is set. You see these lions, they all sitting down, they minding their business. They ain't even thinking about Daniel. It's like, we can't even touch you. We ain't gonna eat you. You just in here with us. We just down here together, I guess. So these lions can represent the things that you fear, the limitations, the word curses, whatever it is that you would think or could fear or imagine possibly taking you off path, off course, or whatever, or sabotaging something that you got going on, but it doesn't affect you. It will not touch you. Yeah, that's the one. A test to break his spirit. You got judgment at the bottom of the deck. This is the last judgment. I know this is like one of them scary things in the Bible, huh? When they talk about you get called, if your name ain't in this book, you gonna go on over here. And some people's on the side of Lucifer. They over there just with Satan, just chilling. Like they over here just like, I don't know why. They just, I don't know. This is like an interesting concept. The whole thing with heaven and hell is just like an interesting concept. But they over here with the lamb, the people over here, they in the line with alignment with the lamb. And Christ is sitting there ready to judge, right? Like, okay. Now, as far as like what you're not seeing, this is up to your interpretation what judgment, the last judgment, what your heaven and hell is. I can't tell you what that is, right? I can't tell you what heaven and hell represents for you. That has everything to do with, because sometimes the heaven and hell is within our own prison. The prison that we place ourselves in can represent our hell. Our heaven could represent the things that make us feel free, makes us feel joy. Um, that can be your perception of life, or it could be that this is all a test and I'm going through these rough things because on the other side, when I pass over, I'm going to heaven, whatever that may be for you. Whatever your perception of heaven and hell is, that message of what is hidden lies in that. And I don't really know how to explain that. Let me see. Top of the deck is the Six of Candles, which is the Six of Wands, the fall of Jericho. When the trumpet sounded, the army shouted, and the sound of the trumpet, when the men gave a loud shout, the well collapsed, or the wall collapsed, so everyone charged straight in, and they took the city. This comes from Joshua, the book of Joshua, chapter 6, verse 20. So there's something in relations to like perseverance. This is interesting, because I asked like what is the message? Because the Sibyls speak in riddles, and for some reason this one feels kind of vague to me, but maybe not to someone that it's meant for. You will know, I guess. But I will say there is something with the number 8, something with the number 6. So you have the Advocate with reconcile, uphold, educate, and balance. Whatever is blocking you, it might be a test. Lion of Judah. Whatever there's like a block, there's something that is about to break. Okay. It's almost like finally. It's almost like just a mixture of messages. Multiple people are going to celebrate some sort of justice due to injustice, especially those that have felt imprisoned. There's a judgment that's going to happen. It's almost like a split. Yeah, some sort of split is going to happen. It could be literally like, ooh, if it's not buildings and like land splitting, child, I don't know about that. I don't know if it's something we'll see in our lifetime. Maybe, maybe not. But there's some sort of split, and I feel like it's not just a physical manifestation of something splitting, literally, but spiritually, energetically, there is a split, there is a separation, and there is a divine victory where people have felt imprisoned by a system, imprisoned by some sort of power, a dark source of power. Her, the Black Statue of Liberty. There's some sort of like divine justice, okay? The Oracle prophecy says justice is served, a win-win benefits all. The all, though, the all is those that are in divine alignment. But even because I can't, like I said, that depiction of heaven and hell, who's to say that these people that are on the side of Satan won't eventually get some sort of wake up call and shift to the other side of what we call righteousness, right? Who's to say that they won't have a change of heart and that victory for all? This is interesting. I don't know what this has to do with anything that would, be a deeper truth that you're not seeing yet. Maybe it is because you're in the midst of something that you feel is oppressive or you feel like it's never going to be corrected or changed, but it is. Interesting. Okay. Whatever has been built is going to come down. And there's a lovers card, because the lovers, I was just looking at them. They were right here, Adam and Eve, another 6. And then the lovers here, unite, desire, cherish, and caress. People are coming together. There is a alignment of divine unions and connections happening too. And what we call the last days. And what I mean by the last days is not like how the Bible depicts it, but the end of an era. There might be some sort of, and it's like a demonic power or something or thinks it's in power. Let me go back to this card because I keep looking at it. The Last Judgment card, where it's like something, essence or energy has dominion for a time, and it could have caused separation in the wrong sense, but the justice of separation in the right sense, separating quote unquote good versus evil, right? But if there's been a demonic separation of unity, that's going to bring, it's going to come together, and the manifestation of that, or the birthing of that, starts with divine union, and everything else is blessed from that, if that makes sense. The fall of an empire, hell, you know, a big one, a motherfucking big empire. It's feeling like. So the lover's prophecy in this card, it says intoxicating love is in the air. So love is going, like, literally a love that's undeniable. I speak on divine partnerships, not in that Disney movie, and I don't want to shame Disney movies, because Disney movies are heavily prophetic as well, divine messages in Disney movies too. But in that fairy tale sense, rather than a spiritual journey sense. Spiritual journey meaning, like, it's not just about the romance and the light and the fluffy and the passion and sex and all of that, but the divinity, the spiritual wisdom behind, a divine union. You can learn that in your own divine union with self and with another person. And that energy expands. It's something that is not able to be contained, because it is, love is just, it's a flow of energy. You can't contain it, you can't label it, you can't put it in the box. So naturally that love is going to extend and share out, pour out. There's the journey of separation from that love, because oftentimes you're separated from yourself, or you're mending the parts of yourself that have been separated from you, coming home back to yourself. The separation that maybe you feel from God's source, finding that connection and rebuilding that. If you don't have a divine connection with yourself, you can't have a divine connection with someone else. It's just, it doesn't make sense. How are you separate? Because in order to understand to even discern your divine partner, who they are to you, you have to understand who you are as a spiritual being, as a person, as a whole. Who you are, what you represent, what you stand for, what's your purpose. And it doesn't have to be like this big grand thing, or what you perceive as a big grand thing, but who are you as a character? What type of partner resonates with your soul being? Not just, oh, I need somebody that looks like this and makes this much money and does this for me and blah blah blah. Like, stuff like that is superficial. But more so as a spiritual, for those that are spiritual being, women, walking in your gifts and your power. You can't afford to be with somebody that's not in purpose, someone that doesn't love themselves, because all they're going to do is take you off purpose, take you off path, distract you, tear you down, because they don't love themselves. So you loving yourself and you being confident in who you are, they will come and destroy that. You have to have someone that is your equal, someone that loves themselves, someone that is in tune with their own journey, someone that is purposeful, someone that has confidence within themselves, uplifts other people in their lives. They're not a jealous hater. They're not a gossiper. They're not a backbiter. Like, you don't want how are you going to lay with somebody like that? How do you even get in covenant with someone like that? Someone that doesn't even match or resonate with what you represent. Women, like, I see this way too often. Good women and good men always chasing after somebody that is not for them, and they want to make them that person, but you can't make this, like that. That's delusional. Who is this man? Who this woman? Yeah, like, the good women always want, like, the ones that's like real toxic, think they're God's gift to women, tearing them down. Some of them just dusty. They ain't even worth it. I'm be looking at some of these women that be with these men. I'm like, girl, what was you thinking? Like, what's wrong with you, sis? Like, some of these relationships that people think is cute, because I said this, celebrities are like the biggest representations of, like, the world stage. Like, you can look at life happenings and use this as an example, even though no person that we don't know personally can we really wholeheartedly say we know what the drill is, but oftentimes just enough of what people put out, you can kind of tell what type of dynamic they're in. Like Haley Bailey and that dude she was with, that was not her equal. I'm sorry. Like, and a lot of her fans was telling her. Some fans are delusional. because they think, oh, because people look cute together or because they both pop in, oh, they're these royalty, you know, celebrities just royalty to people, right? Um, Janae Aiko and Big Sean, I don't think that's a cute situation to be in either, unfortunately. Like, you know, you just want better for your sisters, but you know, that people who have free will, they're gonna do what they do. Personally, just I you know, just certain things that you see and it's just like that, I don't get it, you know. Um, I don't get it. And then you have good men that they think that they can turn, you know, the women that want to be for the streets into these divine feminine energies that love themselves and is going to love you and appreciate you, but it's like, no, they don't. You can't expect somebody that doesn't love themselves to love you. I mean, that's just common sense, you would think, right? But I mean, for real, if someone doesn't really love themselves or honor themselves or even feel like they're good enough for you, they're always going to either treat you like shit because they feel like shit, and or it's just like they're going to be this difficult person, they're going to push you away, they're going to sabotage it because subconsciously or consciously they know that they're not for you. But instead of you like taking heed, because people act things out without even realizing it, they act out subconsciously. A person that knows that they're no good for you, they're going to naturally push you away. But instead of you and your, you know, within yourself saying, there's a reason why this is not working and why this person is constantly pushing me away, but I don't see that. But as seers, women or men and or women that are seers, oftentimes you see into a person's potential because you have that gift. Hmm. Wow. Heal the impulse and they will choose someone different once the addiction and pain is gone. Yeah, true. You know, it's like when you have that ability to see into people's hearts, because you could see into a person's potential, and even people that may not be good or kind-hearted people, you'll put that energy of how you see the world, how your heart is, onto a person. You'll project that onto them, and you'll see that, okay, this person, if they would only just, because you could see how to fix a person as a seer, you have that ability to see into the future and prophesy, right? You have that ability to see the possibility of a person, like, I see where their wounds are. So if this person was just to only heal that part of themselves and do that, because I know they got this issue here, they got daddy issues, they got mommy issues, they deal with abandonment wounds and issues, blah, blah, blah. You can see all these things. This person has um, sexual some sort of sexual trauma where that's why they're hypersexual and this and that. If this person was to heal this, they would be a good man or good woman, right? You could see that. But this person has to want to be that for themselves. And if a person is not aligning and doing that naturally within themselves, it's not up to you to deal with the project of a person. It's not saying that we'll ever be perfect people on both ends. The partner and yourself will ever be just this perfect person that doesn't have traumas and wounds. But one thing that you'll notice with people that are healthy within themselves is that they constantly seek to grow, that they are a work in progress rather than just saying I'm a work in progress, but you ain't working on progressing. Like you can't be a work in progress and you ain't working to progress. Like that don't make no sense. You're not just here just sitting stagnant and saying, yeah, you know, I got the problem. I need to get some therapy. And you ain't, well, why didn't you get the therapy then? Like, what's going on? So, you know, pray to God. Yeah. And that's another thing too. Like I can't fix you. Only you can fix yourself. Only God source can do that for you. I can't, you know, you have to tell yourself that I can't fix these motherfuckers. I can't. It's not up to you to do that. I always use this too. Because I love this. How Spirit put this. The story of Aset and Asir, or as some know, Isis and Osiris, where she sought to put all of his pieces back together. She is a healer. She had the power. She was a magician. She had the ability to call all his pieces back except one. this one piece, and this is the piece that, the male part. Couldn't find that. That was the one thing that she could not put together. And that to me is so powerful in a sense that when women try to fix men, right, you cannot do that. You can help and assist in a way, but they have to put themselves back into wholeness. You can never do that. Oh, not they're depicted as a black dove. Wow, didn't know that. Yes, shout out to Mama Aset. I wear her around my neck daily, often. Very powerful healer energy, and I get mother healing vibes from Aset, and I feel like, yes, as that divine mother goddess energy comes forth, it has that desire to nurture and to love. But the truth is, even as women, or just as a human, your wholeness and fullness, like, you are the only one that will be able to fully put yourself back together. Nobody else is going to be able to do that for you. Not with even all the love in the world, because it doesn't mean anything if you can't come into wholeness yourself. Like, to love yourself is to build yourself. Yes, it is support. It is loving support to have other people around you to build you up and assist with that. But at the end of the day, you are going to be your biggest, I don't even want to say project, like you're just something, I don't even want to use that word, but you are the biggest love of your life that you'll ever experience. And you have to love yourself in such a way that nobody else can, you know, to have that divine love outside of you as an extension of the love that you have for yourself. That's what's up. That's what it is. Rather than looking for somebody else to be the love of your life while you're just like in this holding space of, oh, until somebody love me, like you a rag doll waiting for somebody to pick you up off the ground. No. It's gonna be a long ass reading job or message. All right, so what illusions or deceptions must you break free from? Just as the Sibyls, would warn these kings and these empires, expose what they must be cautious of. It might be a false belief that you have, some sort of external influences, self-deceptions, like could be blocking you, your path. The Six of Feathers. Six of Feathers depicts Ruth leaving with Naomi, her mother-in-law. They both are widowed now because they lost their husbands to a war. So Naomi is going back to her homeland, and Ruth is like, you know what, I'm gonna go with you. Your people gonna be my people. Your land is gonna be my land. Let's go. Let's support each other. Let's move into a new territory. So this deception, what illusion must you break free of? Is that all, like, wherever, if you are in a place or a season where you feel like all is lost, or you've lost everything, or it feels like whatever, because this reading could be a rug pulled up from someone's feet. I know that white supremacist message probably triggered a lot of motherfuckers, but I'm not here to play with people's demons. It is what it is. Sometimes, like, transition doesn't always feel like a welcoming path. It doesn't always seem like, oh, it's time to move forward into something new. Sometimes it's like, why is this happening? Why is this ending? Why does this have to shift like this? It could be like that tower moment, right? That unexpected shift that you weren't expecting, but this feels a little bit smoother. It may even be a little bit welcoming. But if you have this false belief that you cannot move past where you are, that all is lost, or you're thinking in your head, I can't let this go. If I let this go, then I'm gonna lose everything. It could be anything. Let me see. You have the Queen of Wands with Deborah, the prophetess, the leader, with the Nine of Feathers. Peter denies Jesus. This is about your path. Some of you guys know what you're called to, but you might tell yourself, no, I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. I'm not gonna start that podcast because I don't got the time. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Nobody cares. Oh, that's stupid. And it's like, you're already equipped. You're already called. You're already called to whatever this is. Whatever you're supposed to do, you're already called to it. And the more and more you deny it and say, oh, that ain't for me. Oh, well, F this. That's stupid. That's dumb. Or this person said this, so I'm not going to do it. The more you deny, the more you're going to prolong your progress in your journey. You got, I don't know if you know this, and some of you guys do, like deep down in yourself, but sometimes as humans, we'll get in that little funky place where we'll talk ourselves down negatively. Oh, this is an imposture. This is no. I'm thinking too much of myself. I'll speak for myself, like building up your true confidence in yourself. Sometimes it does feel like, am I being egotistical? Am I being big headed? It's almost like you feel like you're lying to yourself, like you're being delusional sometimes. Like when you say, no, I know that I have a purpose and calling to do this and X, Y, and Z. And it's not about me. I know that this is not all about me. There's a bigger purpose, there's a bigger plan. And it's 1:44 p.m. here. This is bigger than me. But at the same time, it's like, but who am I to think that, this is going to happen through, like, who the fuck am I? It's like, it's giving that. And it's like, well, who the fuck are you? Like, you don't know? You don't know who you be? Like, it makes you question yourself, but in a good way. Read the story of Deborah if you haven't, like, or just like a quick, AI quick with it. Just say, hey, who is Deborah in the Bible? What was her purpose? Just like a little quick. Some of you already know her story. There's something in that for you, whether you are a man or a woman. There's something in that for you, but most definitely for the ladies, the hidden gems, definitely for you. Read her story. There's something in it for you. Might not be down to the T or to the verbatim like message of like what's going on in your journey and who you are, but what was she about? What was she doing? Because if I'm not mistaken, she's kind of giving Sibyl vibes. As a prophetess, yes, but what she assisted with her prophetic gifts, kind of similar to what the Sibyls did for the empires, the kings. Let's read this real quick. But Ruth replied, don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. 9 of feathers, Peter denies Jesus. Then Peter remembered the word Jesus had spoken. Before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. And he went outside and wept bitterly. Okay. So before that alarm sounds off, before they call me out, before they prosecute me, you're going to deny me 3 times. You're going to say you never knew me. You're going to say you never walked with me. You was never cool with me. You're going to deny everything I did because you're not solid in your truth. So there could be something within yourself where it's like when shit hits the fan, sometimes you start denying, you start saying, oh, no, I can't. Oh, I'm not going to do this. Or that's not really my path. This is not for me. And you want to kind of throw in the towel sometimes. And that happens. Trust me, it does. Because you might know how big this shit is. You may know. Deborah, the prophetess and the leader, it says, now Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of, I think it's, Lapidov. Child. I don't know how to pronounce Sir's name. Was leading Israel at the time. So she had a husband that was a leader, but she was a leader too. She the doubting, yeah, that's a message too. Yeah, that's true, sis. The doubting Peter's got to go out of your life as well. Yeah, because your prophecy is whatever your call is. It is big, and you have a partner that also is a leader. So this speaks volumes that whether you are a female leader or male leader, that your partner and you both are leaders. And there's no, oh, I'm bigger than you, I'm greater than you. And some of you guys might have to start from the ground up to get to this prophecy. You might think where you're headed is like, oh, this is bullshit. I got to start from scratch. I done lost my house. I done lost my car. I done lost my job. You know, all my friends and dipped, and my lover done left me. And you're thinking that you're in this place of destitute, you know, but no, it's leading you into something far more better. Just like Ruth and Naomi, they lost. I mean, without their husbands and stuff, they probably was like, well, what the fuck? What's here? What's left for us here? I don't want to be here. Sometimes you don't even want to be reminded of what has left. So just imagine if you've lost your partner, your husband, and you got to go back to that house and that bed that y'all used to sleep in and that home that y'all built together, and they're not there. Why would you want to stay? I don't blame anybody that's like, I don't want to be here. I don't even want to be in this city. I don't want to be in this state. Shit, maybe the country. I don't want to be here. So them leaving together, she was like, you know what? Naomi's like, I'm just going to go back to my home. And Ruth was like, you know what? I'm going to come with you. We're just going to start fresh. And Ruth, she got on the field. She went out into the field. She worked. She made a little bit of, a little bit of grain for her and Naomi to survive. They came up with a plan. It kind of sounds like some love and hip hop stuff. Like, girl, we're going to get cute. We're going to go to the bar. We're going to go where Boaz, where he works. Because I know after he eats and drinks, he's going to be real comfortable, real relaxed. That's when you're going to show up. You're going to get pretty. You're going to smell good. Go over there, girl. Be cute. Put on that charm. And then Boaz was like, you know what? I've been watching you. I've been watching you in the field. You don't really pay attention. You're not, flirting with this one and that one. You just be minding your business. You're very kind. People like you. I've been watching you. And I think what happened, because this is what I think happened. I think they did the thing. I think they did, because they woke up the next morning. He was like, you know what? I don't want people to look at you crazy. Let me cover you, cover for you. Make sure you get home safe. Then the next day he talked about, I'm trying to get married. I'm trying to, what do I got to sign? What do I got to do? It's just interesting. So it's weird. Like, or Basketball Wives, not Love and Hip Hop. It sounds like some Basketball Wives shit. Like, we got to figure out where the ball is at. Like, we got to get ready, get dressed. Deborah led her people in battle and won the war. Her song of Deborah speaks of Deborah, and is it like Jaleel, like Steve Urkel, Jaleel White? I don't know, child. Forgive me. I don't know. Look up the book of Judith. Look up the book of Judith. The victory after the catastrophic fire in Galilee. Oh. Yeah, the story of Ruth sounds like a what do you call it? A Basketball Wives type of story, a little bit, just a little bit, just a little. We got to go where the baller is. Like, he's the top baller. Let me. Naomi was like, you know what, girl, you got it. I ain't got. If it was me, girl, I would go. I would get dressed up. I would put on some perfume. But I'm too old. You do this. I believe in you. He already likes you. He already fancies you. Take your ass up there where he at. Wait till he done had his food and his drink, and he just like he gonna be. Trust me. That's what it sounds like. But she shifted her circumstances. I'm not telling y'all to go do that, but she shifted her circumstances. So what you're not seeing, and maybe that's another message your divine team is like, yeah, the Bible says this, but at the same time, like Ruth, what she was doing, she was like, to me, that sounded like they was trying to play in our faces with some of these women in the Bible. And it's so funny that so many church people love the story of Ruth and Boaz. I mean, you can take certain things from it, because I can respect it. He's like, you know what? Because I feel like they had sex. I feel like they did. Just the way that it ended, like for him to wake up the next day, like, okay, I'm going to cover you so nobody knows you were here. So unless they didn't, they could have just laid together, but I highly doubt that. But let's just say, we want to keep this Bible school, Sunday school, sunshine, kids version of church. Let's just say, for instance, that Ruth and him just was laughing and talking and chopping it up, and she told him about her life story, what led her there, and they fell asleep. And then they woke up, and he was like, you know what? I don't want nobody to think that you were staying over here, that we was doing anything, and you that type of woman. So let me protect you. Yeah, let me cover you. I don't want you to look like a hoe because you dressed up and stuff. You got the perfume and stuff. It looked like that. What do they call it? The walk of shame. Yeah, the walk of shame. I don't want you to go through that. So let me cover you. But then I'm also gonna see how I'm gonna marry you because I'm gonna make you an honest woman. Let's do it. That sounds like a fairy tale, right? Like it sounds like a basketball wives dream, or before they became the wife. It sounds like a girl that's chasing a baller's dream to be like, you know what? I left my hometown. It was shitty. I lost my husband. I went to this whole other place, and I just went to this job. I got a job at the Foot Locker, and the dudes was all on me, but my manager, he's fine. He's a little older and he was watching me, but I wasn't giving him too much attention. He favored me, he bought me lunch that day. And I went home and I told my mother-in-law, girl, guess who was at the Foot Locker? Blah, blah, blah. This guy. Ooh, oh, I know him. Boaz, he's a good man. He's good. He goes to church. He this and that in the community, blah, blah, blah. Girl, you got to get dressed. Go back to the Foot Locker, get dressed, go in there, meet up with him. He about to get off at 8 o'clock. Go up there. That's what she did. She went up there, and then next thing you know, they had no business staying there that late. Yeah, Pretty Woman. Exactly. That's another depiction of it too. Pretty Woman, she's strolling down the street. It's kind of slow that night. She ain't getting no good prospects, and then the right baller pulls up, and that's it for her. Then she getting taken out. I don't know. That shit is a fairy tale. I'm not saying that can't happen, but I don't think that's what your divine team wants for you. You're meant for so much more than that. You're meant for so much more. Like hell to the nah. Why is Boaz working at Foot Locker? I don't know. I don't know. Why would he work at Foot Locker? I don't fucking know why he came up with that. But he works at Foot Locker. Let's see. He's a manager at Foot Locker. At that. He works till 8 o'clock. No, I'm just like, let me see. 41. It's just loving basketball, Not loving basketball. What's it called? What's that show called? Basketball Wives. Like I hunted him down until I got him. Yep, you got to remove it. So optimism returns bringing joyful blessings is the prophecy with the faith card. So, oh, I know. I love that movie too. It's like, why y'all make the most like tragic? I mean, it's not tragic. It's just a mess. Like that's a hoochie mama's dream. Like, girl, I was strolling that night, and guess what? This baller pulled up, girl. He took me to his penthouse suite, girl. Oh my God. And we had strawberries and we watched I Love Lucy, girl. And he kind of fine. He a little old, but he not bad looking, girl. Like, he took me out, went shopping. Oh my God. He took me around his colleagues. They were a little stiff. They're a little stuck up, but we had a really good time. Like in the end, I had some self-love, some dignity about me. And I left. I dipped on his old ass. And guess what? He pulls up in his, what I about to say Rolls Royce. I need to stop. Let me shut up. What the fuck am I talking about? I don't know. You can find love in so many ways, but I don't think your divine team wants you to go out like Ruth and be like sniffing, where the ball is at, where the ball. But I don't even think she would have done that if Naomi didn't tell her. And them old head women, they be knowing. And sometimes you can't listen to them. You cannot listen to them. And they be like, girl, if I was you, if I was 20 years younger, I'd be at the concert. I'd be at the Trey Songz concert. Oh my God. Like, if back in the day I would have been with George Clooney, if I was you, like, bitch, shut up. Because they'll get you in trouble. Sometimes the old heads, they will get you in trouble. The old hoes, they're the seasoned hoes. The retired ones, they'll get you in trouble. Because I don't think Ruth would have did that unless, if Naomi never would have told her to do that, she wouldn't have did that. And Boaz probably would have came to her on his own time. But no, not Naomi. She was like, girl, get dressed. She wanted, I think she wants Ruth just to take care of them. That's what she wanted. Some of y'all got to be maybe in that situation because this is like we're stuck on this Ruth story. Uh, not in the sweatsuit with a bubble jacket. This, girl, what was it? 2000? What was this? That sounds like the early 2000s. Maybe not mid 2000, but 2007. No, I'm just but no, yeah, some of you guys might be around the wrong influence. It's somebody that's just trying to come up off of you. And it may not be with love and romance that they're trying to get you out there, put you out, but it's like people are benefiting off of your gifts, benefiting off of your favor. And that may be what you're not seeing. But faith is on the other side when you move towards that spirit of optimism and move towards hope and faith, you know. But we can't be too upset because if Ruth and Boaz didn't get together, King David and them wouldn't have existed. So hey, that's fun. Let's move on to how can you best align with your divine calling? Okay, so if the Sibyls, sorry, Sibyls, my bad, sisters, mothers, aunties, sorry. If the Sibyls are speaking, it means you are. What does it mean you're meant to receive? What is it that you're meant to receive? Okay, how can you walk in your highest truth, embrace the wisdom that has been given to you? Right. So, what can you do to best align with your divine calling? This is probably one of the longest readings I've ever done that was not personal reads. Okay. It truly is the longest. I keep saying, let me take this hoodie off. I'm not doing this. I can't. It's too hot. And it's February, y'all. Barely about to be March. And it is hot. So I'm scared what the summertime gonna look like. It's horrible. All right. How can we best align with our divine callings? Sibyls. How can we best align with our divine callings at this time? Dang. Okay. Ooh, is that Moses? Yes, it is. You know, I love the Prince of Egypt movie. I know it's a little they Disney ties it a little bit. It's very Disney ties. Even though it's a DreamWorks movie, it's very Disney ties. But I do love that movie, and I want to watch that. I love that movie so much. They have a live. They have a few. I think they have the Ten Commandments. That's like a throwback one. They have the one with Christian Bale, which is like that's real goofy as far as the casting. I'm like y'all tried it. You're funny. But Hollywood is good for that. They got to get that white paintbrush out and start whitewashing everything. Like people in Ethiopia, it just so many things is wrong. The DreamWorks, the what do you call it? The Prince of Egypt movie was the best at the depiction of that time as far as the characters they created. But they still had to get the white paintbrush out and get some actors with some voices that were mellow enough for us to take in the brownness, okay, the golden skinness. We're gonna have some voices that make us comfortable. You know how they do it. The Hollywood for you. So anywho, even with cartoons, it's like we still got to do some. We got to sprinkle a little bit of that in there to make people comfortable. We got to do that. We can't have it too black. Too ethnic. We'll have Danny Glover. He'll talk for this big dude right here, which I loved his character in that movie. It just fit. Was it? Wait, was it Danny Glover? I think it was. Hold on. My brain is slow sometimes. Prince of Egypt. Let me see. Prince of Egypt. Voice actors. No, they didn't. Not Steve Martin was Hotep. You know what? I can't. Oh wow, Sandra Bullock. I don't know. Not Michelle Pfeiffer played the girl. Girl, I'm just now seeing this. I didn't know all of this. Who was the? Yeah, Danny Glover was Jethro. Okay, he was. Uncle Phil was somebody in the movie. Jeff Goldblum. He was Aaron. I love this movie. I'm gonna watch this. Like, forget y'all. I'm about to log off. No, just like I love that movie though. It's probably one of my favorite little animations. Um, Wait a minute. For all of us in the chat, I pray we're aligned with people. Yes, peaceful place for us. The longer the beard, the more wisdom the man is supposed to have. The Ten Commandments in 1950, which the throwbacks. Yeah, they tried it with those movies. They tried it with Cleopatra. I was just like, her makeup was. I shoot. What's it called? Elizabeth Taylor. Like her makeup and her fashion in that movie was like popping. But like, let's be real. Like that's not accurate at all. Um. Anywho, so you have the Nine of Grains. The Nine of Grains is Queen Sheba visits King Solomon. Interesting. And it says, and she gave the king 120 talents of gold, large quantities of spices and precious stones. Hold on now, Spirit. We're not gonna jump ahead. Let me read the rest of the cards before I say anything. Justice, the Ten Commandments. Okay. The Hermit, John the Baptist. The Temperance with Mary and Martha. Six of Candles, the fall of Jericho again, which is the Six of Wands. The Emperor, which is King Solomon. He's just popping up. This is his third time coming out in different cards, of course. You have the Two of Candles, which is the Two of Wands. Elijah on Mount Carmel. Ten of Candles with Jeremiah's burden. Okay. How to best align is knowing that there's going to be seasons. Yep. Queen of Sheba. Queen Sheba. So there's parts of the journey that are going to be where you're going to meet people, you're going to bless them, you're going to, some of you guys have healing modalities maybe that you use. So like some of you guys, I don't know why I said modalities, but okay. um some of you may have like different types of arts, of things that you do. It could be like, for example, you could be into herbs, herbal magic. Um, you could be into maybe crystals, healing, Reiki, certain things that you'll use. Um, hmm. Yeah, this could be like Reiki, it could be medicine, it could be sound healing, it could be something that you have the ability to give in exchange, like something precious, something that people would cherish and precious. You know, you could even be making jewelry, like your jewelry could have healing energies in it, with the premise or the purpose of I'm giving this as a gift of healing to you. This is showing some sort of it's like a blessing. So you'll have those moments where you'll come into people's lives as that. And there's times where you may have to reinforce or remind people of certain spiritual laws of I don't want to say that in a way that's like this religious preacher, the 10 commandments, thou shall not do this, like getting all, no. But like it could be just normal human, just be a kind person, be an honest person, don't touch nothing that ain't yours, don't start nothing, it won't be nothing, like just certain things like that should be just common sense to a human, of just being a good motherfucker in the world, like just stay out of people's way, keep people's name out your mouth, like just certain things, like if you don't have nothing nice to say, then don't say nothing at all, just common sense, things that we can follow. the God's law. Like, just what is, it doesn't even have to be like all these religious things, but the real true law of commandments is really the Mayat, the laws of Mayat, really. Um, and universally, like, even the 10 Commandments, a lot of people have just broken those. They don't even follow that shit at all. Just not at all. Just just not at all. But you are that person that reminds of, this is unjust. This ain't right. We need to do better. That's the kind of the energy. And it doesn't have to mean that you are this goody two shoes walking around with a pen and pad telling everybody what to do, but it's your energy kind of requires people to show up in a manner or way that is in divine order. Whether they choose to fall into divine order and alignments or not. And it's like, this is where you're out of line. This is where you're out of order. This is where this person got you fucked up and messed up at. You know, what God do they trust is the question. The hermit, the John the Baptist. Okay, John the Baptist baptized Jesus, his cousin. And I feel like for some of you, you also will be someone that blesses other people that have gifts and callings too. Like, you'll be that person to assist them on their journey, or to awaken them, like kind of be like a midwife to someone that is birthing themselves out or walking their journey, or just awakening to some sort of gift, or helping them to remember, remind them of that. So you will be that for others as well. People that may have bigger, platforms, even. You might speak and help people that have higher positions than you, kind of like the Sibyls. The Sibyls, they were high position. Don't get me wrong. Like, the counsel of God is a very powerful and beautiful um position to have, something to be really grateful for and humbled to be in that position, to be a divine messenger. But as far as like worldly titles and what people perceive as successful, high ranking, you may be that person that helps those and guides those people in those positions. Okay. Just be open to that. Or you never know, because Jesus was not renowned fully yet until way beyond thousands of years after his passing. Um, no, sis, girl. Now you got a high position. It might not be this, like the tube, but you, yeah. I don't know if you're still there, but you do too. But yeah, the Temperance card, Mary and Martha, and they're sitting around, they're counseling with Christ. And I feel like, again, that counsel, that nurturing, that mothering energy, that divine, fathering energy, to kind of like be a coach to people that, if, let's see, because this is why I say, like, to be a true like king, queen, divine messenger, you have to have a beautiful heart. Because if someone, let's say, like your bestest friend, like your homeboy, let's say your homeboy just got this high paying job or career, and you're still kind of working this 9 to 5, but you're meant to counsel your friend and tell him, like, hey, um you're destined to do this. You got this. This is your purpose. You go walk, do it well, do that thing. But you're working at a cubicle and you haven't even gotten to that place, but you're still able to speak that life and love into him. And you're not a hater. You're not a homeboy that's a hater. Or if you're a woman and your bestest friend or one of your sister friends is, excelling in their career, and you're still trying to figure out what yours is, but you're still able to speak life and support what they got going on. That is the type of heart that a true prophetess, a king, queen, divine feminine, divine masculine energy has to have in their heart. Because if you're a hater, you're not going to be able to show up, because you're going to prophesy to people that are, and that is where sometimes that imposter syndrome might come in. Because I've dealt with this sometimes. I have people that I know that are in higher positions and spaces than me, that are bumping shoulders with people in certain places and industries where, they can get ahead, or, there are opportunities opening up for them. And as a messenger and as a sister to them, being there and facilitating that energy, even if my life doesn't look exactly where I want it to be, to still be able to show up for them, that's very important. And at times you might think, who am I to tell this person that's doing this and doing that, be a counsel to them when I'm not even there? But you're a mouthpiece for God. And that's another thing people don't understand. As divine messengers, people think, oh, well, you can't speak for someone if you've never. Get in here, Miss Novi. Oh, you can't do this if your life isn't like this. And well, you don't have a mansion and you don't have this. That's how superficial people think. Because if God can use anybody as a vessel, a young child, a donkey in the Bible, as they said, an animal, a child, someone that has never been a king or queen, and use them as a powerful influence or force, what makes you think that God can't use you as a voice just because you're not in that physical space and position? Or you think, oh, because I don't make this amount of money, but this person does, and I'm counseling them, that makes you lesser than, or that makes you false, or that makes you an imposter? No. If you're using your gifts to help somebody else, to edify someone else, and you open yourself as a divine vessel, and you have the heart to be that, God is using you to help somebody else, to bless someone else, to encourage someone else, to inspire, to speak life, because we all are human. So even if someone is a part of $1 billion company, that doesn't mean that they don't have days where they don't believe in themselves, or they can't see certain things that God is showing them. They might need that messenger. That's why God called you, or called whomever that is going to assist and help that person. Just like you have people that will call and assist you, or come to you, that are called to you. You know what I'm saying? So to say that you can't be a mouthpiece or a voice for God because you're not at the same stature as someone else, or you're not as high, or your life doesn't look as put together as you think it should be, or other people think it should be, does not mean that you cannot be used as a divine vessel. If you are willing and open, and you have the heart and you're able to be used as a divine vessel. Because there are going to be times, it's going to be, I'm telling you, perk your ears. There's a time that is going to happen where things may look like they're hitting the fan, where shit feels like it's hitting the fan. It's going to be that time, and people are not going to know what to do. They're going to be looking for a savior. They're going to be looking for the wrong savior. With the Emperor card, that's King Solomon. King Solomon is a man of true wisdom, but they're going to be looking for somebody. They're going to be looking for somebody to make some miracles happen. We looking for a God on earth, and that shit is not going to happen. Yeah. Yeah. Jeremiah, because the enemy likes to be on the media acting like he won, or delights in despair, but God will never put more on us than we can bear. Yes. So people is looking for a savior, and everyone's so uptight about, who's in position right now. And you can't live in that fear. That's just a man as well. That's just a man. But it's like, do people really want to be free, truly be free? Or are we still looking for something to worship, or somebody to worship? As Sis said, the golden calf. Are we still looking for somebody to worship, or do we really want to be free? Really? Because shit is going to hit the fan in a way where there is going to be a divine separation. It already is, in essence, yes, it already is a divine separation in the planet. It always has been. There's always been good versus evil, but there is going to be I don't know. I'm not going to say I don't know. I'm going to just let it come out. There's going to be a divine reset. And it's really going to be a blessing. It's not going to be a blessing to those that are stuck in a system or this structure, this big grand empire of structure. It's like, Once that empire is separated and it is split, it's freedom. People that are in alignment, I'm getting chills all over my body. When that happens, the people that are not attached to that system, it's like it's freedom, it's liberation. We might have someone that has the wisdom and the counsel that we can lean on and trust, but even they're still a human. So we have to learn not to place all of our hopes, all of our solutions into one man or one woman, because that is never going, that's not happening. We looking for a savior on earth, either to come out the sky or to come through a walking, talking, leaving, breathing, living vessel. That is not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Christ consciousness, Christ energy. That's all it is. That return of that is an energy. That's an essence. The essence. Wow. 2025 is the most important year of the century. Astrologically, Pluto, Uranus, and Saturn are shifting. This is liberation energy unlocking. Think back to the lessons of 1850. I'll have to research that, sis, the 1850, and see what was going on around that time. But honestly, like, we're good. We're always going to be good if we're in that, in alignment, divine alignment. It's only when people are so stuck in a system and dependent upon a certain system, it's like that's where you have no ground, you know, you have no spiritual connectedness. Because life, I mean, life be life and it be happening all the time. And there's certain things that happen that does shift the vibration of the planet, of society. There's things that will be massive that change your life forever, but you know, we survive through it. And some of us, you know, we transition over, you know, before we see the change, or while the change is happening, or because our soul is like, you know what, I'm not ready for this, or I'm best help or helpful on the other side, or whatever, you know, that's just my belief. Sometimes when people transition over, it could be that their energy is not ready for what's happening on the planet, or their soul decides to do work on the other side or come back later. um there's there's a lot here. It's just, I hope I'm making sense. At the bottom of the deck, oh wait, I'm skipping stuff. So you have Two of Wands with Elijah on Mount Camel, and you also have Jeremiah's burden. Jeremiah was that young prophet that he was also like, God, I don't know why you calling me. I ain't doing, I can't do it. I don't know why you didn't call me. But God was like, I did. I called you. I already knew who you was gonna be before you were even born. So like, I don't even know why this is a debate right now. I know some things that you're gonna have to deliver and say is not gonna be easy for people to hear, but nonetheless they need to hear it. And if you don't say it, I'm gonna be seeing what's wrong with you. I'm gonna check on you. Like, why didn't you say that? You needed to say that. That's what you were supposed to. That was what you were commissioned to. Um, and as you know, that's why I be telling people, if you be having dreams about something, tell me. Don't just be like, oh, I'm scared she gonna get, no, tell me. Because when you get divine downloads about things for people, especially if it's something that might protect them, like, why wouldn't you, like, you know what I mean? Like, even if people might think you're crazy. And this is what I find too. Like, I had a friend recently, like, she had all these dreams about a particular friend, and she was like, I don't want to tell them because they might think I'm tripping or I'm crazy. And she was telling me the dream, and I was breaking it down, like what I was seeing and what I was getting, and I was like, this is what sounds like going on. And basically she kind of confirmed like how this person is, and I feel like that was a warning from God about their ways. And of course this person is going to be like, oh no, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't know what's going, like, they're going to deny it. But that's the thing, that's up for them whether they take heed or they don't, because truthfully, when someone knows that what they're doing is wrong And sometimes it doesn't even have to be that you're delivering bad news, but when you do deliver quote unquote bad news, if it's something that is going to help correct, redirect someone in the right way or path, lay that message out for them. If they decide that they're going to rip the letter and throw it away in the trash, that's up to them. They know their bill is due. If they ain't going to pay it, there's consequences, right? So you did your diligence, you delivered the message. That's it. That's it. Leave it where it's at. Yeah, because you're going to have people that cross your path that are going to. This is the thing. You're not a walking God. Like, this is the thing with Jesus, with Christ. His energy is so revered now, but at his time, he was not someone that a lot of people respected, but those that heard of what he can do, because people always gonna want something. If they know they can get some help, they're gonna seek it out. He's like, yeah, I know, some people might be talking about you saying that you a false prophet and you making these miracles with witchcraft and shit like that. But you know what? I can't see. I can't even see what you look like, but I need to see. Can you help me? Because I heard that you helped my homeboy walk the other day. I need help. My daughter is like sick and I don't know if she's gonna make it. Can you come in my house? I don't know who you are, but I just heard about you. People is gonna always want something. They know you can help them with something. They're gonna come after you. They're gonna seek you out. That's how the church. Do you know how many church people get tarot readings? Trust and believe when I tell you that people that still go to church still get readings. Some of them even have their own decks and shit. So, you know, in spite of what the church is saying, oh, that's demonic, that's witchcraft. If I know that this is something that has helped me, in spite of what you're telling me, this has helped me, this has blessed me, or someone else has been able to prophesy. I've been trying to get answers in the church that I have not got, but I went to this seer, this person, this messenger, he or she helped me. That's kind of what it's giving. And other people were too afraid to admit that Christ was that dude, and they didn't want to, they didn't want to show gratitude or for what he did until it was too late. And they was all denying him and playing him out like, oh, we don't know that, we don't know him. You might have seen me walking with him, but that's because I was trying to, he said that he could take me over here. I'm trying to get to this place, and he promised us that, but I'm not one of his followers. Y'all tripping. Like, I don't know who told you that. We weren't sitting at the table together. That's a lie. I was just an informant. All this stuff, like, people, when it comes to, and that's really the truth is this. When people front you out and pretend like, oh, I don't know, when they get around certain other people, it's because they're not in a place where they honor their own truth and their own path. So of course they're going to be like, oh, if everyone else is saying this guy is crazy and he's into witchcraft and he's a false prophet, even though I know that shit ain't true, but because I don't want to be the minority, they might put me on the cross. Shit, I ain't trying to be up there. Yeah, I don't know him. I don't know him either. No, I don't know him. And then you got some of them that's just like willing participants in the bullshit and just like, yeah, I'll tell you like what they be doing, like their business and stuff. I'll tell everybody their business as long as it benefits me, as long as I can get in where I fit in and stuff like that. And if that's what it takes for you to be liked and loved, then, that's sad. You're a sorry person. You need help. But a lot of people are like that. A lot of people are like that. They're not comfortable with themselves yet. They're not comfortable with it. Yeah, there is a lot of powerful women in the church, most definitely. It's a lot of witchcraft in the church in the sense of like, not so much like witchcraft is a harmful, like in a harmful sense, but yes, there is that there as well. But they're like, it's just the fact that they don't even know that they're part of the ancient practices and they're doing things that their ancestors, the divine mothers, were doing. But all of that gets demonized and criticized, and I'm just like, but I get it. Like, if you don't know, you don't know. And fear will keep you. Fear will keep you. Yeah, be careful with the love. I've been telling people, like, listen, like, it's best to manifest love through you than trying to like do some manipulative shit with somebody else. It's like, why, if you got, this is my thing, like if you got to manipulate a person to want to be with you, then it's not natural. It's not in alignment. If you can't do that by magnetizing your own energy to be like, in love with yourself in a healthy way, anyway, not like uh, someone that is like full of themselves, conceited or anything like that, but just more so from a place of you love yourself, you believe in your energy, like you're that person, that woman, that guy. Your energy speaks for itself. You're going to attract people to you regardless, and you're going to attract the right one when you're authentic and whole within yourself. So why do you feel the need to get somewhere and pay somebody or do it yourself to attract them? Like, I just don't get that. I just don't get it. I just don't. Like, back in the day, like, yeah, I've probably tried to like do some things like, oh, my ex, like I want us to work it out and dumb shit like that. Like, it's stupid. It's dumb. Because it wasn't meant to work out. And so many times, like, just the situation itself is the answer, and the question that, I mean, the question is being answered through the circumstances with this person. If it's still not working out, even though you try to manifest them back and this your specific person manifestations, and that person still ain't acting right, then that means that it's not meant to be. That shit don't work like that, the muses. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that is like a connection. But you have the sovereign card, and here's another lion. There's a lion and a peacock. It says reclaim, preserve, govern, and remember. Okay, let's see. 18. So the prophecy of this card, it says a royal breakthrough is headed your way. Okay, I'll let y'all interpret that for yourself. A royal breakthrough is on its way. Whatever that means to each and every one of you individually, because I don't feel like it's like a one size fits all. Okay. Even if it says one size fit all, sometimes we learn the hard way. There's some shit that say that it really don't fit all. So I, that's just how messages are sometimes too. Like, it ain't gonna fit all sizes. It might resonate a little bit differently. It's gonna look differently on each and every person, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So the karmic energy, how does this message connect with your past life or ancestral destiny? Okay. So the Sibyls prophecies were often tied to lineage and our fate as well. So um this will show like how our soul's past is influencing our present and or our future. Okay. Let's see what's up with the amp. Thank you, Spirit, for your divine wisdom, truth, and clarity. Sibyls, how does this message connect to our past lives or ancestral destiny? Like, how does this all align with our soul's past, present, and future? How is it influencing that? Of course, the card had to fall out. Hold on. Samuel, when he was a little boy. So you have Prophet Samuel as a child for the Page of Cups. And you have Paul the Apostle. I think we got him before, or maybe he was at the bottom of the deck at one of the pools. But this is the Knight of Swords, Knight of Feathers. Okay. So, I mean, you know this. I don't feel like y'all just don't know. Y'all know. Okay? Y'all be knowing. Y'all be knowing. So you have the Five of Cups again, the prodigal son. And then you have the Queen of Feathers with Abigail, the peacemaker, Queen of Swords. So how does this align with your past, present, and future? You've always been called and been birthed to be a divine messenger. You've always had the heart to, you had the heart for God, the heart to connect with source God in your own unique way. You've always had that call, even as a child. And I feel like your lineage, your ancestors, many of them were divine messengers. The men and the women in your family, prophetesses and prophets, the men and the women, they all have a gift. The the royal bloodline usually, I believe in Egypt, but the bloodline, and even with the Sibyls, if I'm not mistaken, they're most definitely with the Sibyls. What am I talking about? The royal bloodline came from the mother. It wasn't a father thing, like, you know, if your father was pharaoh or king, then that would appoint you. It was usually the mother being of a royal bloodline. Um, so your mothers, their sons, prophets, prophetesses and prophets. So if that makes sense. So the mothers of your lineage, your ancestral lineage, the sons that came from them, the mother womb, those sons, prophets. Yep, maternal bloodline. The three of candles at the bottom of the deck is the call of Abram. The Tower of Babel at the bottom of the deck of that. So you have a lot of male prophets in your family for sure, or at least they were able to openly confess or openly activate their gifts, or openly work through their gifts. I should say, not activate, but openly work through their gifts, their prophecies. Um, Whereas the women, it was more so of a, I don't even want to say that. Hmm. The men at the time had to get permission from the women with certain orders and certain things, but the men had the room to say, mama, like, okay, what do you want me to speak, what do you want me to say? Or if they were a part of the church, because a lot of our ancestors were a part of the church. So the mothers may have been the ones that stewarded them, taught them the ways of the Bible, or how to decode and discern certain things. And maybe if they were churchgoers, they were into hoodoo or certain spiritual practices, if not religious, spiritual practices for sure, where they had to use the Bible. And the mothers taught them these things. The men were able to come out. Maybe they had to cloak some of these spiritual practices, but as far as the religion or the words, the mouthpiece that they were used for, they were able to publicly do it where the feminine energy was not. Thanks, Nina. Yeah, like, share, and sub, y'all. And yes, the tower is there, sis. I see it. They just hide it. I'm looking at y'all messages. Yeah, Tori, they just, I feel like, again, because it's like you said it before I even like channeled this, the hiding of like the spiritual gifts and maybe the spiritual practices, and having to cloak it under, um because some of the men in your family, in your bloodline, may have forgotten some of these ways, or they've turned away, or they may feel a disconnect with their mothers. The men in your family may feel a disconnect with the divine mother energy. So therefore they don't really know how to relate to women in a way of women being in their truth and their power as well. Um, Being able to take teaching, study underneath a woman, to them feels like, you're talking down to me, or who are you to speak? But in the times where your ancestors were really operating in their gifts, and that the time where they really honored and revered the mother, they were taking all those energies in. So how does this relate to your now? You may have your own son. Some of you guys have sons, some of you will have a son, and I feel like they're not going to rebel against whatever this divine order is, because again, their gifts lie in this. They may not be like a prophet or messenger in a sense that comes off traditionally. It could be like, if they're a musician, their music, their songs, their lyrics is very prophetic, or the visions of creativity that they see in their mind. As a prophet, as a seer, they're seeing it before it's even created. So therefore, that's already a prophetic vision as it is. So if they're putting something out into the world, they saw it first before it even happened, before it manifested. So yeah, they do. They do. The one thing, gifted people, good and evil, recognize each other's gifts. Yeah, they do. The early Christian church was kept alive after crucifixion by women, but King James rewrote out all the women in order to install yeah, the council. Yeah, because the Shekinah, I believe that's how you pronounce it, the Shekinah essence is divine mother God essence, but they also cloaked her as a dove as well, the white dove, the Holy Spirit. This is all funny too. Like just real quick, it's all funny because my name means white dove. It's funny, but not only just that. Like, I'll speak as far as this little card right here, because I feel like we can all relate to this. Something in our childhood or in our youth always kind of circles back to things that you remember in your adult life. So when I was a little kid, they would call me a brown dove instead of a white dove. Like, it was just something that my grandma and my aunt and my mom would call me, our brown dove. That's what they would call me. So I always like loved the dove. Like, the doves always represented something special to me. I never knew anything about the black dove. That's a concept that I learned as an adult, but as a child, I didn't know anything about that. Um, but I always felt like God used me as a messenger, even as a kid, but I would cloak that because I remember I had a dream that I was trying to express and tell my aunt like what it was, and she started crying. So I took that, it was like it was a negative thing, like I shouldn't have shared that. So whenever I would have dreams and things like that, I wouldn't share what I was getting in my dreams. I had the gift of prophecy in dreams as far as I can remember. But that was something that I didn't feel comfortable with after sharing that with my aunt, and the reaction that she had, it made me think like, okay, that's kind of, I shouldn't have said that. So I just kind of left that alone at that point. But getting older, the more comfortable I became with my spiritual gifts, the more I became comfortable sharing my interpretations of my dreams with other people. And shit, like some people might be freaked out by it, and some shit would be like, damn, but that's the part about being a prophet, is that, or whatever you want to call your gift, being that messenger, that diviner, is that no matter if it's a good or bad message, what you'll learn is that some people will still misinterpret it if they are not ready to hear it, or they just refuse to hear it. Because like, with messages, sometimes like I try to leave it open for interpretation too, because if we only look at it from a surface level rather than being able to discern like seasons and messages and times, that's why I kind of try to leave it open. Like, if I pick up something like, oh, I'm seeing something with April, it may not be that it's going to happen this April. Or if I say this person is someone that's going to come around, doesn't mean that they're going to end up being your person, or that you should wait for this person to come around. But that doesn't mean that the prophecy doesn't still stand. Because I've had people get upset, oh, you told me to wait for somebody. No, I didn't. If it be that someone is someone that you want, if it's not meant to be, or there is something maybe with divine timing in it, it's going to cause you to wait. But it's up to you whether you want to wait on that person or not. I would never make anyone sit stagnant and wait for somebody to come around. you know if you want, that's the person you say that you want, this is what I'm getting. Even if I were to tell you, because people are still gonna get mad if even if I were to say, hey, this person ain't really that, they're not the person for you, you're gonna be upset with that. So either way, if I tell you this is somebody that's, they're gonna come around, but it's like it's a waiting game with this person, and you want them, that's up to you whether you choose to wait. And then to find out, oh, this person ain't shit. Okay, well, you wanted this person. I'm delivering you the message as I'm getting it. This is somebody you're fixated on. It's going to be a way for this person to come around. It may not be somebody you end up really wanting in the end, or you're going to see this person ain't shit. But it's easy to deflect and project, because when you're a messenger, people don't want to, because as a messenger, a person has to read it, right? Read into the message. If I'm delivering a letter to you, and this is what I'm writing and what I've typed up for you, or someone prints out a letter and you're reading it, you have to read the energy. You have to read in between the lines. You can't just sit and get a reading and think that it's going to predict your future, and you can just sit back with your hands behind your neck and your head and just lean back in the chair and just rock back and forth waiting for shit to happen to you. When you're delivering a prophecy or a message is meant to instruct you or give you a heads up into something. What you do with that message is up to you. Mm, well, Maya Angelou. I, mm, that's crazy, sis. You just said that. I just thought about something. Where I've heard her name a couple of times this week. Wow. I'm gonna look into some of her books. See which one I'm led to get. I need a book. Yeah, I don't know, sis. I needed a gift from Jesus because she had dramatic events happen and she saw in her own dreams. Mm, yeah, I'll have to sit with that. Because it was like an intense dream, but it was like, I mean, you can kind of interpret it as something kind of scary the way that I was seeing it, but dreams are just, yeah. All right, let's see. What's the prophecy behind this? The seer. Yeah, it's just a reminder of who you are, where you come from, your ancestors. Like, you know, you come from a bloodline of prophets and seers. And some of them don't even know it. That's the thing too. Sometimes they don't even know. They'll probably deep down in the soul, but it's almost like, but I don't know what to do with that. That doesn't fit into the mold of my everyday average life. You know, what does that look like? And sometimes we'll put the word and the term prophet into this box of um this person that goes around ministering to people in the streets or works in a church or maybe a tarot reader or something or medium or something, instead of like, I can be a prophet like Tupac in my lyrics, in my words, like Nipsey Hussle in my lyrics, in my words, be able to channel that energy out of me, or through drawings and paintings, through architecture in the street. You can be a prophet in so many different ways. Marie Laveau. Hmm. The oracle of this prophecy, it says freedom is attained by awakening your psychic vision. So again, your freedom comes from you being in your truth and your gifts. And the men in your family, or the men that you're going to counsel or that you've been counseling, that is what they're activating within them. You can exist, you can be free by living in your truth and the vision of what you see for your life and yourself, if you just allow yourself to be that. You can't live for everybody else. Just as women is learning that lesson and been learning that lesson, that we are not here to live for everybody else and just like, oh, F me and my well-being. I'm just going to take care of everybody else around me. Same goes for men. I mean, men have a better time being a little selfish, but in a sense where you don't have to be what the world is telling you have to be. This toxic masculinity, that is not what the world is asking of you, truly. And even if the world is asking that, because I'm kind of talking backwards a little bit, even if the world requires you to be a certain way and show up in the world a certain way, if it is against the vision and plan of your life and your heart and your truth and your freedom, that in a way that's not hurting and harming others, because I think people that are selfish, inheritedly selfish and egotistical and demonic, they think that thy will be done, in the sense of, I don't care if I'm hurting anybody as long as it's something I want to do. And sometimes what you want to do is not coming from a place that's really healthy and pure. It's coming from something else inside of you that's like out of order. And sometimes people don't even see that shit, and if they do see it, they don't care. But a person that is authentically true within their heart of soul, in a place that's not hurting or harming anyone else nor themselves, if that doesn't look like, oh well, you got to have this type of job, you got to drive this type of car, you got to be this type of person. You got to have these many women. And if you don't have all these lovers in your bed, that you ain't that dude, you ain't this, you're not that. Um, you're corny if this is the type of things that you're into, and you're a dork, you're a nerd, you're a lame, you're a simp, all this stupid shit that puts men in these boxes instead of being able to be multifaceted. And I think that's one of the things that, I notice in certain men, that why I love creative men, is because typically, like, real creative flow men that's in the flow of creativity, not in the I'm just mass producing creativity just to put shit out, just do this, just do that, energetically doing that, but where it's a flow, it's an order. It may even be a little bit eclectic in a way, or just abstract where people don't get it or understand it. I feel like Tupac was palatable to an extent for the Black community because he still had that the thug street type vibe, but he was very, very he had a very poetic heart. Like, before he became Tupac, he was a theater kid, very well spoken. And I feel like that blend of that, the kind of the vulnerability in his lyrics, his words, even in his eyes. Like, I don't know if y'all ever noticed Tupac's eyes. I notice this about a lot of artists. Like, if you look into their eyes, there's something open and vulnerable about it, almost childlike to it too. I don't know how to really explain it, but like wise but childlike. Being able to be vulnerable in such a way, not just musicians wise, but I do love creative men in the sense that those that are kind of outside of the box and not trying to be like everybody else, and being able to be vulnerable and be able to shift and change, be able to give people credit where credit is due. And I know that, and I'm gonna use Drake for a second because I know everybody's on the hate train of Drake. He is a fuck boy to a degree. Yes, he is. His music, some of his music is very, it is low vibrational. One of the things I could say before he became this trap music Drake is the vulnerability in his music. His ability to speak about his relationships with women in such an open way, such a vulnerable way, that I don't feel like was really a thing in hip hop. Maybe LL Cool J, when he had that one song, what's it called? I Need Love. That was something a little different as far as hip hop goes. But Drake had a level of vulnerability to his music, and I think that's why a lot of women love his music, um, and loved it. You know, but yeah, yeah, because he's a Scorpio. That's what people forget. Like, people don't want to give credit to zodiacs, but that shit do be playing out, and like different aspects of your zodiac signs and things like that, or placements of your natal chart. That shit is everything. It really is. 8 likes, 8 people in the room. We got 7 likes, unless somebody took their like away. um, Offered to resign in order to save his country. Zelensky. Yeah. Yeah, something happened. I mean, it could be just one of those stories where, you loved a woman and then she played you, like that one woman or you just got played too many times, where it's like now everybody's just bitches and hoes now. But yeah. Let's go ahead and tap into this prophecy that we're tapping into. Is this something that is a present moment, or is this something where this has patience required behind it, like divine timing behind it? Okay. Any clues, any signs? Ace of Feathers, which was the first card we started out with, which is the Ace of Swords, Saul's regression. This prophecy, you'll see, if it's not in your own personal life, how you know this prophecy for you, however you interpreted this prophecy through this message and reading, how you will know when it is soon to come, or the timing of it is when some sort of some sort of ruler may be touched by God or awakened. Because in that Sibyls, where's that book at? This book right here, it talked about, I think it was Ooh, I want to say Mark Anthony, but I could be wrong. Or is it Caesar? It might have been Caesar. It was a leader that had gotten a prophecy from a Sibyl, and he said that he had a vision of a woman on a throne. He saw, I believe it was the divine mother on a throne. He had this vision, and from that vision, he knew that the Sibyls were to be revered, to be respected. From then on, he respected their practices, their laws. I believe it's Caesar. It's in this very book, though. Um, that's kind of the energy that I'm getting from this card with Saul, King Saul's conversion in the book of Acts, chapter 9. It says, he fell to the ground and heard a voice say to him, Saul, why do you persecute me? This is chapter 9, verse 4. Augustus. I said Augustus. Augustus. And we kept getting lions, remember? So it could be something with Leo energy, Leo season, something with the sign of Leo, or maybe August. Because we kept getting all them Leos and shit. Or lions and shit. Excuse my language. Oh shit, sis, why you retracted? I was trying to read it. But yeah, it's just I want to speak on this real quick. I understand that the things that Drake do is very cringy at times, yes. But it's like I don't agree with, you know, the separation of the community in that sense of like, because I feel like some people don't understand really what's going on. So it's just like we're picking sides based off of personal opinions, or maybe the hate against the other or dislike towards the other, or just hopping on this train because people are so hive minded. Not saying that Kendrick Lamar is not worthy of getting what he, getting the, um, what's the right word for what I'm trying to say? Gaining the rewards of his work, of his contribution to music and hip hop and in his community. Not to say that he doesn't deserve that. Just I don't understand the separation why people celebrate things like that. And some people will say, "Oh, it's a divine thing. This is like some occultic shit, it's like, making shit just deep." And I get it. Like the world is literally a stage, and everything is a message. It's divine. If you really pay attention to the world around you, God is always speaking and using characters speak volumes of messages. But to me, the separation thing is the biggest part of it that I don't like. And I understand that, you know, male energy, pissing contests at the same time. Some of it could be, personal movements and opinions and motivations, um, stances, things like that. I just don't like separation. I just don't like it. Yeah, Drake may be flawed, but that doesn't take away from his artistry. Yeah. I mean, the artistry in either side, like I can't see it because just couple years ago, maybe just last year, like the beginning of last year, everybody was up Drake's ass. Like from last year to back then, it was everybody was like, I just don't get it. And sometimes I do believe that some people are just really hive minded and followers. Where you can't exist and say, because I understand some people are like, you got to pick a side, you got to choose a side. But why can't we be able to exist in different colors and variations of life where we can say I can respect the Kendrick Lamar and I can still respect the Drake artist wise? Because truthfully, y'all don't know these people personally, so you can't be like, oh, I like this person better, because you don't really know them like that. You know what I'm saying? Just based off of what you know and what's been exhibited, but ultimately you really don't know these people. Yeah, she's yeah. The problem with his artistry is not original to himself, so the laws of Maya happen to him. Yeah, everybody has that downfall. Everybody has that. Everyone will experience that. Hopefully it's correction. I don't know, because I don't know. I don't. Sometimes too, I'll say this. Just as I can respect Drake's artistry, like some of his music, like as of, I mean, some of it, I'm not into all that trap stuff. Like some of it is cool, I guess, in comparison. Not saying that he needs to stay the same music wise, but some of it is kind of played, and again, it goes back to people not being authentic to themselves. Like when it comes to their vision, their freedom within being their authentic self. And who's to say that he doesn't feel like this is his authentic self and his expression? But I feel like the lesson for men and women, again, is honoring your true core self. And a genius thing that Kendrick Lamar did, and I can't remember which one it was. I think it's Meet the Grams. I think it was called. Can't remember which one it was. It's almost like he was turning a mirror to him. If you look at it or listen to it from a place that's like, oh, you trying to come down on him, I think They Not Like Us was kind of like that, shitting on somebody type thing. But I feel like the other message was more of a turning a mirror to see something about himself. Okay. Speaking like Kendrick Lamar holding up a mirror to Drake energy. Almost like kind of a prophetic like again, where that wise counsel type thing. That's how I took it. I don't know if that was his intentions with that particular song, but that's how I took it. Yeah. Nobody clean. The paint. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the tub picture would see this is the thing. This is the thing about it. Again. And that whole industry, I don't know about it. Y'all know I done talked about this millions of times. Millions of times. Millions of times I done talked about the industry and the lack of, giving of yourself, like compromising the self. I don't understand that world, but at the same time, I understand it from a sense of it was never meant to be a place of divinity. It was never meant to be a place where, um, you know, love really exists in a healthy way. There's a lot of darkness in that industry. So to thrive in that is almost like you either have to get down or lay down, but if you can maneuver and get around in a certain way, you can. But it's almost like you can dwell in the den of lions, and be untouched if you're called there. If you're called to that space where you're in that room full of people that you're not supposed to be there, because you could be that shift, that light. But once that light is apparent to all that darkness and the dark spaces and things like that, you could be an open target. So that's why some people that have that integrity, that are there just to create and do their work, do their job and leave, can get caught up, or they get kicked out, or they don't get as far as everybody else, because that is a realm that was created. Hollywood will never be something. I don't feel like it will ever be constructed in a way to make space for other people in a way that it's going to be this divine space. There might be rooms that open for certain people to do what they need to do and get out, but that is a place, if anything else, Hollywood in itself, the construct of that, it needs to be torn down, because it's not built on, the foundation of it is not built on the right things anyway. So yeah, the whole thing of celebrity is going to die out, because it's like they already bored with. I mean, there's still the celebrities that still got it like that. People still like obsessed in this cult of Beyonce and cult of Taylor Swift and shit like that. Like there's still that, but for the most part, I feel like people are outgrowing that. Oh, the glamour of celebrity in Hollywood. You know, and now you have people. The TikTokers and the YouTubers that are now the new celebrity. But that's going to get played out too eventually. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of discord. It's like it's just it's not. It's very corrupt. It's very corrupt. And the uncomfortability within that, like people having the freedom to finally like um wake up. And this is my thing though too, like no one's hands are clean in that industry, and maybe because they felt like they had to do certain things or they had to compromise certain themselves, or it's just like if it's not like completely corrupt and demonic, then just like times where it's like I really didn't want to work with this person, it went against what I believed in, but maybe I needed the money, or I was promised that if I did this would come of it, or if I worked with this person, I didn't want to shake hands with this person, take a picture with them, but I had to play the game. It may not be as bad as doing something real demonic or corrupt, but it's like it's not a completely authentic environment. I don't know if that makes sense. That's just my opinion, but yeah, divine intervention. March 2000, what? March 2025 and 26. So you have dancer with shift, dance, and rapture and embody. So when is this going to take place? When you start to see that shift, it's going to be like people are going to be like moving very differently, good and bad. Like some people, like I said, they're going to crash out. Some people, they're going to be celebrating because there's going to be some type of dictator, someone. I said this, I don't know why this guy, I don't know what happened to this man, but he asked me to do like a live Zoom interview for girls at a college. I guess one of the girls in the college elected to interview me next, which I was like really happy about that. But he never posted it, and I felt some type of way about that. So I hope the girls did see it and they did get it. But I wanted to share something that I said on there, which is why I don't know whatever happened to that. I said something on there where women are going to be at the forefront in a way in people's faces in a way where, and I see it as far as like us women, average women of our time and our day, speaking on things that we're no longer accepting and putting up with our lives, with our bodies, with our hearts, things like that. We're just not doing it. We're not taking it anymore, right? And speaking up and expressing that, you see the upset with that, the how dare you behind it, and the pushback. And there is this separation that is seemingly being created between men and women, and even some women that don't agree with that. It's like, no, we need to stay conformed in this way. We need to be this type of way, as women. This is the only way. And if you don't, God forbid, you're going to be lonely, you're going to be single, or nobody wants a woman that's like this, or X, Y, and Z, women perpetrating that same, toxic masculinity script. Um, you see that separation. But one thing that I was picking up very strongly was that there's going to be a reveal of divine feminine energy, like the divine mother. And some people might celebrate this. Some people are not going to like it. I don't know. I'm just leave it at that. And I think I said that in another video, actually, though, too, or another reading, that there's something with divine mother energy that is going to be revealed, where it is going to be separation between people that celebrate it and others that are not going to like that, because it's going to shake up their comfort zone of what they thought, what they think to be God source energy, or the only form of God source energy looks like this, or it's a patriarchal energy, or it comes in a face or something that makes you uncomfortable, or how it's expressed is going to make some people uncomfortable because that's outside of what they've been conditioned to believe. They refuse to accept it because that means I have to shift something within myself, within the way that I see things and the way that I think, my beliefs, my hatred actually for people or a person or groups of people or a gender. It's going to make people have to deal with themselves. And if they don't deal with it, then they're just going to have to walk around upset, still living in that old timeline, not understanding, what it is. They're just going to be upset. Yeah. So year of the snake, the divine feminine. I loved his music since MySpace days when he was singing. Yeah, was it Brand New? I love that song still. That's such a MySpace era song for real. Um, yeah, terminology there is a way. A lot of people are incomplete. You're not meant to pick a side. Hmm. Yep, gotta stop idolizing people. Yep, when the gag is with women, you get to choose which bloodlines continue or that girl. The royal bloodline comes from the mother. It makes sense. You come from the womb. Why wouldn't the royal bloodline come from the woman? Like, and I know that it's cringy to hear. And if you've been conditioned with the Bible, oh, Eve came out of Adam's rib. I didn't come out of nobody's rib. Like, unless it's like metaphoric, you want to go there with that. And I mean, we can go there, but at the same time, I think that conditioning is very dangerous because it puts the woman in this position of like beneath. Oh, we must come after the man, rather than seeing the divine mother for who she is, and reverencing the divine mother doesn't take away the divine masculine energy. That's what people don't understand. That's where that narcissistic mindset comes from, is that I must only hype up one thing and then the other thing is just nothing, or there's nothing else than this, rather than saying this can exist and this can exist, this can be celebrated and this can be celebrated. I can be successful and you can be successful. We can both be successful. It's not, oh, I can only be or you can only be, or I can be the only attractive or smart person in the room, and or there can only be one part, or how dare someone else. Like, that is that not just really narcissistic. It's mainly a deep-seated wound within yourself where you're not really content or whole or complete with who you are. So where you feel like if something else is lesser than me, then that makes me better. I have to have something that's not as good as me or way beyond lower than me to feel good about myself. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, uh, we're not gonna get on the sexy red topic right now because that's a whole, and that's gonna make other people, motherfuckers, mad about that because again, it's going to expose people that operate in that energy. It's like people need a leader to say this is who I am. Like if I can have someone like Sexy Red to represent me in my trauma, because honestly, she may be authentic to herself as what she knows to be, what she's been taught and conditioned, like this is just me. Oh fuck it, I could twerk, I could do this. I'm being me, right? We can give her credit, but at the same time, it's like people that enjoy watching other black people crash out and perpetrate these stereotypes because it's so deeper. It's so much deeper than just, oh, I'm just being myself and this is my generation. It's the upbringing, it's the environment, it's the beliefs from the people before you. You know, it's so many layers to that. So when other girls that also too have that same type of mindset, live in those same type of environments, have that same upbringing, and they're conditioned to think that this is what's normal, this is liberation as a woman, this is me being me, then it's like it makes it okay to be in that energy, and it is not. And if it was okay, why does everything gotta be extra like just big exploitation of sexual energy that's like nasty sexual energy, celebrating, making cosmetics after sexual transmitted diseases and things like that. Like, how is that liberating? How is that a woman in her power? Like, explain that to me. Explain that to me. I don't understand it. Right. So the choosing, just like, yes, a woman has a right to choose who she lays with. But again, it's like, is the choice the right choice? Just to say, oh, I can sleep with this one and that one. There's no type of sacredness behind it. It's just, oh, because he's fine. We having a good time and we vibing. Everybody talking about they vibing. Like, what type of vibration are you? What's the vibe? What's the vibration that y'all on? Like, where y'all coming from with y'all vibe? You know what I'm saying? Because that's very vague. You know, when we say the vibes, I say it too. Um, but it's like, what is the vibe though, for real? Like, what kind of vibe y'all really on? It's the question. Why are you just sleeping with them? Like, is it really worth sleeping with somebody just because they fine or whatever, or because they got this, or because they have that, or because you want to try it on them? Oh, I just want to see what it do with him. Like, it's nothing about it that's connecting. There's no connectedness to anything anymore. There's nothing sacred. You don't even hold yourself sacred. You willing to just have anybody up and sliding you, and that person just could be just a whole mess. And I see the men and the women that some of these people be talking about. Oh, I slept with them, and I'm like, girl, like, you didn't wake up itching. You didn't wake up like tossing and turning in your bed, having nightmares and shit after you slept with this dude. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you don't know when you sleeping with a demon, like, or demons, and some of these women, like, you can't tell. Like, look at their eyes. Always look at a motherfucker's eyes. That will tell you everything you need to know. Look at the motherfucker's eyes. When you're dealing with a Jezebel, you can see it in her eyes. When you're dealing with a incubus or a demon, demonic man, he ain't got nothing in his. There's nothing there. It's just nothing. It's gone. Or their eyes are always super bugged out. Like, they look like they ain't slept in days. They look like they've been taking no dose, just OD'd on some no dose pills. They're bugged out, or there's nothing fucking there. And I be looking at some of these people, I'm just like, you slept with them? Like, what the fuck was you thinking? What was you thinking? Yeah, that's true. That's kind of the same thing I was saying with the Naomi and Ruth thing. Like, if we turn into a modern thing, you have these modern day, you know, reformed hoochie mamas that's counseling these young generations of hoochie mamas and telling them that that's cute, that's okay, this is how you get a man. And then if you have that, oftentimes, if that's your mama is competing with you, just like what Dari said. They're competing. They're jealous of their daughters. They still trying to test to see if they still got it out here, and chasing after whoever their daughter is talking to, or still trying to, I'm still trying to go out and get it as much as you doing it. That's toxic. Toxic. That's generational trauma repeating itself over and over and over again. And that type of mother figure, if she has sons, oftentimes it's a lot of coddling and worshiping that son. They can do no wrong, and they become this toxic masculine, walking around hurting everybody in sight that they come across. Every woman in sight is a target. And the mom, if you bring her, God forbid you bring a girl around, the mom is jealous, testing her, trying to see what she about, see if she's on my level. I'm trying to see if she good for my son. It's like, is your son good for her? It's so much toxic stuff, and I just can't do it. Um, yeah, let's move on, because I haven't even gotten to the Sibyl oracles. We've been on here for like 3 hours. I don't know how I did it. Can somebody help me understand? What must you embrace to fully? What must you embrace to fulfill your destiny? Okay, so it may be a lesson. It could be a confirmation. It could be a call to action. So, what must you embrace to fulfill your destiny? Yes. As a collective, what must we embrace to fulfill our destiny? The Hangman, Peter's crucifixion, interesting. The Eight of Candles, um, Philip and the Ethiopian. Okay, what must you fulfill? Okay. Whew. What must you embrace? I'm sorry. What must you embrace to fulfill your destiny? So the scripture here is for 8 of wands or 8 of candles. It's Acts chapter 8, verse 39. When they come up out of the water, the Spirit of the Lord suddenly took Philip away, and the eunuch, hopefully I'm saying that, did not see him again, but went on his way to rejoicing. Okay. And then the hangman with Peter's crucifixion, because they put him upside down in reverse. I'm gonna have to pull another. It's interesting. The 8 of cups with the ascension of Christ again. So there's something about to fulfill your destiny. Yep. God is doing a new thing. Yes, doing a new thing for me. I'm walking a path that I've never seen, and I do choose. I choose not to choose between my higher or lower nature, but to be in the middle, mastering the self. I'm not creating discord within myself by choosing. It's literally a mirror of what we see in the world. We have not embraced all of the self, and that's why they constantly pick a side and living in division. Yes. The bottom card is the Ace of Chalices. So this is the woman at the well, and it's John 4:14. It says, "But whoever drinks the water I will give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of waters, cannot see this, welling up to the eternal life. But whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up the eternal life." I'll let y'all interpret that because I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, eternal life, but to embrace your destiny, how to embrace this, I want y'all to interpret that for yourself because honestly, I'm not getting like a clear cut shot message with this. Let's see. The love maker, love, give, receive, be. Just be, child. Just be. It is. It's Mommy Wata on the book. So this card is number 32. Let me read the prophecy, but sound like it's saying like to fulfill your destiny, you gotta be authentic to yourself. There may have been a reason why I read Tori's message first before I even got into all the cards. That message, you're not creating a discord within yourself, but by choosing, it's literally a mirror of what you see in the world. They have not embraced all of their self, and that's why they constantly pick a side by living in division. I am the high priestess, and I dwell in both spaces. Yeah, Ashe. So let's see what this card means. It says your search for juicy, passionate love is over. So I'm going to say your juicy, passionate desire for love of life, love of yourself, love itself. Exactly. Yes. Sis. Love. Just be your authentic self. Be present. This is a fuller size woman. She's shapely. She has full breasts, full hips, full arms. She's what we call thick, right? This I feel like represents that that divine mother energy as we know as the life bringer, the life bearer. Her hips, her breasts is full to feed, to nurture, to give. The space, the hips to give room, to give space for the child to grow. The shape and the curve of the woman is not just something to look at in this place of just, ooh, look at that. It's really a divinity in physical form. The divine creation, the mother space is a divine form within itself. The more fuller you were in certain times and in historical times, the more fuller you were, and even in some countries still, the more abundant you were, the more wealthier you were, the attractiveness you were, because it did represent fullness of life or divine mother energy. Okay. All right, let's pull from the Sibyls Oracle and then we'll close it out because I did not mean to be on here this long for 3 hours. Actually, let me move these out the way. Put them back in their boxes. God dang it. Thick thighs save lives. I have a swimsuit that says that. I have a swimsuit dedicated to that. Very same. Okay. Now, like I said, this deck has a system to it. So I'm going to separate it. Okay, so let me see. I remember. I think these are black, the brown, and there's the blue and the red ones. I think these are the blue and red cards. Yeah, okay. The blue and red cards, and then the black and the brown cards. Yeah, I had to separate these because it's kind of confusing sometimes because they almost look alike. Okay. All right, so the black cards represent any core issues, okay? Anything that's like a fracture or a miscalculation of logic, anything that we need to address, Sibyls. Okay, we have accumulation. Okay. All right. Projection. What is a projection? Any rationalization or justify of what you're not seeing in your core issue. Rage. Okay. All right. So start with the blue one. Any internal actions, any internal action or state of mind suggested when dealing with this energy in question. Detachment. Okay. Any external actions or response to the situation in question here. Okay, stillness. Wow. Okay. That's very telling. So we have accumulation as the fracture or miscalculation of logic. So there could be an accumulation of energy stored up when it comes to anger, right? Because this is the projection, this is the rationalization. So whatever it is that I've accumulated, it's something that's going to put me in a state of rage, have me to react in a certain way. And this is not what spirit wants for you. I want to break this card down. Let's see. Mm, mm, mm. I don't even see it. Detachment. Detachment. Oh, accumulation. Seven. Why was that? Yeah, 73. Okay. So it has bees it shows all consume, few thoroughly digest. All consume. Okay, few thoroughly digest. So anything that you haven't fully digested within you and addressed within you, there could be some energy stored up. Okay. Um, but this energy can represent goddesses of wealth as well. You have the bees. The bees represent productivity, sacrifice, teamwork, focus, or order. The entire existence is dedicated to the accumulation of the sake of their community, and the bowl of fruit symbolizes the abundance of such efforts. So there could be like also an energy too where there's a lot of energy stored up when it comes to something around a community and or literally like your community. Could be a spiritual community, it could be like your culture, it could be your environment, your where you live, your community in that sense, or some other close space of community where you dwell, where you may have a lot of energy stored up in there with or towards that energy, towards those connections. So the question is, if you get this card in a reading, the Sibyls may be asking you to stop and consider the following questions related to your situation or inquiry. Will more really make things better? Are you feigning contentment because you are too afraid to ask for or seek more? Is your plan to get more morally or ethically sound? Do you fully appreciate and use what you already have? Are you upset or angry that someone else is asking you to contribute or give more even if their request makes sense? Are you okay just being greedy? Do you know exactly what it will take for you to feel fulfilled? Okay. See what the anger card says. They telling you like to or the rage card, because the cards over here is pretty much like telling you don't do shit actually, but we're gonna get into it. So the rage card, external flames, commemorate the honorable, the dishonorable, or the commemorated. By the void. Okay. So this represents a fire-breathing female monster in Greek mythology with a lion's head, a goat's body, and a serpent's tail. The Romans also represented the creature in their art as the most terrifying of beasts. Though her symbolism is debated, it is highly likely that she represents the decretion of the Divine Mother, especially the darker warrior aspects of the goddess, as a prosecutor to the patriarchal religious traditions that would dominate the world. Principally, this is because all of the animals who compose the the Chimera, hope I'm saying her name right, Chimera, were sacred to countless goddesses throughout Africa, Asia, and the Mediterranean. Her symbolism is used here to warn against blind, destructive rage. Okay, so she is the goddess of war. Okay. Um, it says a rage is a reaction to pain caused by the lack or the insufficiently expressed love we feel we deserve to receive. Whether we become enraged by someone bumping into us or angry at a government for creating a law that doesn't support us, this definition will apply. There is great power in knowing this because once we are aware that this anger is a reaction to the pain we experience from not receiving the love we feel we deserve, then we can move more effectively move past it. The problem is that it is much easier for most of us to rant and rave about how mad we are about something or someone than to acknowledge that we are just plain hurt. The inability to admit the feeling of pain and to deal with it with that pain then makes us more enraged, which eventually leads to a retaliatory, retaliatory thought, which of course only leads to more rage. All we have to do is reflect on times in our own lives when we have deeply regretted having said or done something out of anger to know this is true. The majority of history books consist of little more than tales of rage, with few agreeing on what the original catalyst for the negative feelings were. Naturally, this inability to properly deal with the rage has caused untold suffering and cost billions of lives. Though there are many may disagree among people about whether they have a right to be angry or not, all will certainly agree that unchecked anger can have no positive results. So let us not focus on the person or persons committing the wrongs, but rather try to bring the focus back to where it belongs, ourselves. It may be difficult, but the reasons for this are simple. First, the other party may not think they're wrong at all, and even if they do, they may be unwilling or unable to compensate you in a way you perceive to be satisfactory. Second, You put your emotional, physical, and spiritual health in jeopardy by holding on to your rage. And lastly, you could be planting seeds of hatred in the minds of the impressionable, such as children or others to whom you give guidance. This, of course, the worst possible scenario, because by doing so, you are ensuring that your pain will remain a focal point long after you have passed away. Who is to say that major conflicts in the world today do not begin over a small beef between two myopic, selfish idiots? We can't know for certain, but what we do know is that someone somewhere got angry and taught others to remain such as angry as they are forever. Fortunately, there is a solution, and that solution involves the proper channeling of energy, not the denial of pain as some suggest. If the issues that made you angry is small, meaning the occurrence will not affect, I skipped this page. Hold on. Affect your entire life in any significant way, then acknowledge the nuisance and let it go as quickly as you can. It's pretty long, but yeah, her. Thank you. I don't know how to pronounce her name. If you get the rage in a reading, this is an indication that you have been hurt and may be seeking refuge in rage as a way to cope with the pain. You are advised to recognize that you are just hurt, to stop focusing exclusively on the anger and to deal with the core issue so you may move forward with your life in a healthy, productive way. Okay. So the solution to this, so you have the detachment card and you have the stillness card. Okay. So let's see. So these are the actions to take. So the action card, the blue cards are the internal actions that you're to take. So we got, where's it at? Did I skip it? We have stillness and detachment. Did I skip one of them? Desire, submission. Mm. Oh, detachment. Okay. So detachment is the internal um action to take. So win loss is an investment in peace, defeat is illusionary. So the meaning of this card, it says to stop obsessing and completely let go of any emotional attachments related to the matter in question. So anything that's an accumulated rage or anger or pain, spirit is wanting you to stop obsessing and emotionally release the attachment to it. And this card is connected to the goddess of the wilderness, Akate. And then the stillness card represents the physical action to take, which to me is like pretty much saying don't do shit. Like as far as you ain't got to take no, aggressive action. But it says destiny rewards patience. The meaning of this card is action would not be productive right now. Maintain self-control by reminding yourself that waiting is not doing nothing. Make a move when a meal is certain. Until then, be quiet and observe like a good hunter. And this is related to Sobek. Sobek was a Kemetic god of strength and power, connected to the Nile crocodile, often depicted with a crocodile head. Crocodiles do not normally chase their prey. They are patient and can wait hours, days, or even weeks for the opportune moment to strike. They can survive a long time without eating. Okay, so something that's like it don't need your immediate focus or attention, or if at all, it's like spirit understands and acknowledges the things sometimes that hurt you, that hurt others. Because I know how it is to have that holy rage, to get upset and like want to like cuss a motherfucker out, not just on my behalf, but other people's have. Like, but one of the parts of that card that really stood out to me, where it said, um, that your rage and kind of feeding that to others or children or other people that you're giving guidance. And I have to be mindful of that. That really did call some things out. Like to be mindful that you're not encouraging rage and anger in others. Because, it's easy to go there because emotionally, like it said, like the card said, or the message, to feel anger is to feel that rage of not receiving what you deserve or what you believe you are worthy of and deserving of, or the lack of receiving, love. The IVF. Mm, girl. To guard your womb. Yeah, and a lot of women have been doing that, which I don't blame them. To be very particular with who you allow to bear children with, because it's not just, having to deal with that person for the rest of your life, but your bloodline, and it's deeper than that. It's much deeper than that. All right, y'all. That was a message. I really do appreciate you. I'm just gonna pull one more because I forgot about the Mother Mary Oracle. I'm gonna read this real quick. Just to see what the Divine Mother wants us to know. Okay. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this message, for hanging and chilling with me as long as you guys did, because I've been on here for almost like 4 hours. Our Lady of the Rose Child, number 23. Okay. Number 23 is 5, if you break that number down. Okay, it says, "You are my rose child, born of agony and ecstasy, and sorrow and joy. I am with you when you are growing, in darkness and light. I am with you, and you are growing, in death and in new life. I am with you, and you are growing. The thorn and the bloom, both of the rose, in the midst of your suffering, you are in the birthing pains of new life. I cherish you, my heavenly rose child. Do not fear the darkness of life. It is necessary for your light to be made manifest. I am your mother, the midwife for the birth of your soul, and the defender of your heart. Surrender and trust in me." Okay. There's a lot of message, but I want to read this part that says, "Allowing more contact with the divine means more of life pumps through our being. That is joy, and that can also be agony. These cannot be separated. The devotee of the Divine Mother understands that the connection with peace of the spiritual presence is not about avoiding life, but becoming strong enough to bear it, to grow through it, to become radiant, a divine soul made flesh. The Holy Mother protects her child without interfering in what is genuinely required for the soul to become all that it is destined to be, a living divine being on earth. When the child suffers, how she howls in anger or agony, feeling every pain as though it were her own. Sometimes that suffering is more than the Holy Child can bear, and so she intervenes, absorbing the impact and keeping the children safe from harm. All other times, the suffering is a part of life, such as the loss that goes hand in hand with human love. In these times, she is in the pain with her child, but does not try to shield the child from the mysteries of life, which, though painful, sometimes actually feed the soul with richness of human experience. When the child triumphs, how she dances, ignited in delight and happiness as her child shines true. She is willing to bear it because that is the gift of life through the soul is empowered into divinity. This oracle of Our Lady of the Rose Child comes with a special message. If you have been suffering, do not believe that the mother has turned away from you. She is in your heart, suffering with you. She is bearing this and asking that you bear it because she loves you, and this is your way to outgrow that which is too small for your future. Your breaking heart is the seed cracking open so that new life can begin. She is protecting you from unnecessary struggle. Yet there are challenges which are essential to your soul to grow. These challenges will not be withheld from you because you are entitled to become your full self. Her message is this: from any suffering, great love will be born. Surrender into your pain and find the path through it, for the path is there and new life is awaiting you. The mother will help you find the pain or the path through any pain or struggle. Nothing is impossible for her love. Know that your current struggle is blessed, and although this may not make much sense to the mind, this message can help the heart find some peace to bear this challenging part of your journey. Know that you are not alone, and the Heavenly Mother walks with you always. Pray to her, not for the challenge to be taken away, but for the courage, the responsiveness, the surrender, trust, and grace required to successfully move through it. You shall be so blessed. Wow. Okay. So, Mother Mary, who lovingly tends to the souls of the world as sacred roses in her healing garden, nurture, nourish, and protect my soul. May I be held in your loving grace and given the strength to find the light even in the darkest of hours. Amen and ashe. Yeah. All right. So that was the read, y'all. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. This blessed you, benefited you. Thank you so much for joining, y'all.